Oh, well, hello there. Hi, everybody. Oh my God. This camera cannot decide what it wants to do. Like, honestly, because the light is not that high. This camera just like keeps getting all out of whack with the exposure and the color temperature and stuff. I don't know why it keeps resetting. Makes it hard to have a consistent look in my videos when they have to change every once in a while. It's like, girl, what are you doing? I'm like, why? Okay. I'm just gonna pull those settings up while we talk a little bit. Get the fucking camera settings open. Oh goodness. Um, well, anyway, good afternoon, everybody. I hope that you're well. Hope that everything is going so great for you. I'm doing pretty okay so far today, at least. Okay, so I need to bring the balance. No, it's not the balance, it's the exposure. Yeah, it keeps turning on the automatic exposure. Like, stop. Please, Jesus. Okay, that looks closer to what I want it to look like most of the time. Okay. Okay, now this needs to be like right there. Okay. Okay, that's more normal. All right. Now we can appreciate my amazing hat a little bit more. Look at that. Wow, amazing. Crazy. God. Okay. Breathe. Hello, Mersh. What's up, kitty? I'm guessing based on stream title that your good day will soon be ruined by sheer cringe. Right. We're gonna watch some of the videos and stuff for the what was it, a congressional hearing of some sort? Anyway, what's up? Is that Donu Umai Owo here today? Or was that from the end of last time? In any case. So yeah, we're gonna do our usual thing, chill for a little while. I'm not sure. I'm like still trying to figure out if starting stream this early is a good thing. I mean, it seems fine. Like there's 19 people in here, so it's clearly doing something. It's just a little earlier in the afternoon than I would usually go. But I want to have two longer streams rather than three streams that are like 3 hours long. I'm going for two streams that are between 4 and 5 hours long. So the hearing is on Biden's Title IX ruling. I think you did a video on it when it came out. Right, like I feel like we've talked about a national trans sports thing before. More brain earlier. True. Gang gang. Hello, Crow Mother. Yeah, so this is a politics and news show. We talk about politics and news, and that's what we're planning on doing today. I got jabs this week, and I'm here to tell you, if you didn't already see the video on the channel, I think a lot of the people who watch the lives also watch the videos, but if you didn't see it anyway, I got my COVID and flu vaccines this week. I got one in each arm, so it's been kind of difficult for me to sleep the last couple nights, given that I am a side sleeper. Like the night before last, I basically just didn't sleep at all, but I wanted to mention it because it's that time of year. Definitely, like, if you haven't gotten a COVID booster since September this year, like, if the last COVID booster you got was before September this year, you are more or less walking around unvaccinated because there's a new booster out that's effective against, like, even more recent versions of COVID. So you need to get a new booster. And you can get one for free. If you have insurance, it's free. And if you don't have insurance, then you need to go to a pharmacy like CVS or maybe like Walgreens, and they do like the Bridge Access program, which is for uninsured Americans. You don't have to prove your income or anything. You just go and say, "Hey, I'm uninsured. I'd like to use the Bridge Access program in order to get a COVID vaccine," and they will do that for you. Wow. Right, those vaccines contain a slow-acting poison. You've got only 80 years to live. I feel like that's a pretty good run. I'll take it. If I can live 80 more years, the hat looks nice. Thank you. Yes, this is my merch. There's a link in the description. I am excited to have it. This hat is very snug and it's quite warm. It says it's made out of like turbo acrylic or something like that. And yeah, it's very warm under here. I've not taken it on the test of like, trying to see how it holds up to going out in the super cold. Because it hasn't been as cold this week, but I'm gonna test it out this winter and see. It's definitely quite snug. I'm excited to have a merch store. When I feel like my Christmas present to myself, if I can afford to get a Christmas present for myself this year, is gonna be like a hoodie, probably like one of the hoodies. I'm just trying to decide. Like this hoodie, I kind of like how it has the thing in the on the left corner. My hoodies have the big thing in the middle, so I don't know. Anyway, appreciate the compliments on the hat. It's very cute. Here's a fun little random thing that I'm sure a lot of you don't care about at all, and you might click off the video, but whatever. So, you know, there's like different types of hair. You would think, based on what my hair looks like right now, that I have like super, super straight hair, you know? And I thought that for a very long time. And it turns out that pretty much only Asian people have like actually straight hair. Like my hair, when it's wet, you can see that it wants to make waves. And then the way that I treat my hair after my shower, like the oil that I put in and the way that I put it in there, I think that just like takes all the volume out of my hair. So I'm gonna experiment soon and see if I can get like maybe 1 or 2 different products to see if I can make some natural waviness happen in my hair. Look forward to that. Whenever you see my hair and it looks like it has waves and volume, that's like it's super fucking dry and it came out of a braid. That's poofiness from being in a braid and being really dry. And I'm like, this is a terrible texture. But it was me realizing like, oh, my hair gets really poofy when it's dry. And like looking at it the way that it like when it's wet, yeah, like it does have it will get into locks of waves if I just treat it right. So yay, that's gonna be a fun little thing for me to try out. I assume nothing about you is straight, Lux. I mean, you'd be correct at this point. You'd be correct. It's pretty obvious. It's quite difficult for me to do anything straight. Can't walk straight. You can't think straight. We need, like, more fun segments. You know what I mean? We need more slightly less politically oriented sections of the show that aren't like Slay the Dragon, because y'all cannot figure out how to post videos that don't infringe on copyright, like, in the Discord, so we gotta come up with some kind of reaction stuff that's gonna be fun. Like, something that I don't want to turn into a segment later, you know? I mean, something that I would have the option to do later, but I'm saying I don't want to do Ariel Scarcella reaction as a fun thing for the channel. Like, that's not the kind of vibe that I'm talking about. I love how, like, Demon Mama has her Cooking Mama segment, which is pretty cool. I don't really watch a lot of streamers, so I guess I don't know, like, what do other streamers do just for fun? Like, how do other political streamers take a break from the monotony and just have some fun? Vosh the other day had a stream that was 100% about fashion, I think. It was all about fashion, his different fashion opinions, which I respect massively. The fashion turn that I'm about to take is like, I'm gonna become a barbarian. Uncomfy, hello. Yes, I am late and gay. Well, we're happy to have you here. I was a little tiny bit late today and also a little tiny bit gay. So, not that it's a competition or anything. Oh, man. Oh, is that not how to make the rainbow happen? How do you make the rainbow happen? You messed up. You goofed. I know, I'm only a tiny bit gay. I'm slipping. So, I appreciate y'all coming in to hang out. We are, doing our thing where we chill for a little while. I always fuck up my dicks. Hey, I respect you all who are into CBT. It's a hard knock life out there. Oh, it's pride, not gay. Yes, makes sense. Oh gosh. So I've been having a lot of fun lately. I've been doing so much different. I've been doing like these different designs, trying to like add new things to the merch and the branding. It took me such a long time to figure out what the branding for the channel was supposed to be. I honestly am kind of wondering if I should take the green dragon wing and put it behind the this symbol, you know what I mean? Like, because so here's what I have so far, okay? You're gonna get a little, we've already kind of talked about this a little bit, but hey, welcome in. We're gonna do branding stuff for a second here. I want you to see what I've been working on. So like, obviously this is the channel logo, you know? We've got this guy, channel logo, okay? Perfect, amazing. And that is, I also went where, which one is it? This one? I think it's this one. That's really scrungly. So this one, this is kind of what I've landed on as far as like the name of the channel. For the YouTube header, I'm gonna end up putting like some text under here that says like, join the Horde Sundays and Wednesdays or something like that. But, so I was kind of, this is what I decided on for this. But I do think, now that I'm thinking about it, I want the logo here to be a little bit more personalized. And I was trying to figure out, is there a way to make this a little bit more personalized? And I think the answer is that I should like, whoop, that's not the right one. Where is it? Where did it go? I feel like that the answer is that I need to take that green wing and put it behind this. And then maybe that should be the symbol. Like, you know, it won't really look distinctly like a green dragon wing on this if it's really tiny. Like if you zoom out way far. How do I zoom? Where's zoom? No, I can't zoom out any further. If you zoom out really far and it's a tiny little thing, all you'll be able to see is like a green splash, you know? So I kind of think that might be, like this might not be the final design for the channel. I think I might need to go ahead and make that change, actually, or at least check it out and see how it would look. Because then that's a much more noticeably different and personalized design. And then that would probably become the new design. Like doing the whole name across the wing. No. So I mean, taking the wing off of the off of the Luxander design and putting it behind this gender anarchy symbol. So that the gender anarchy symbol itself also seems like more personal to me. You know what I mean? YouTube seems to be lagging today. Ooh, that's no good. Could also do little wings coming off the circle. I don't really like how cherubic that ends up looking. I did try that. Yeah, and then it'll be, yeah, the greed will just make it look cooler. You could put a dragon wing on each side of the circle. Guys, yeah, so I tried that. It looks really cherubic. Like, putting two little wings on the sides of, like, a word or a symbol, it looks really... You know what I mean? Jaruba, Jamaica, oh, I want to take you. No, no singing aloud. No. This is not a karaoke. Get out of here. So that means, like, some people who are, like, getting the Gender Anarchy logo that's just the Gender Anarchy logo, like, they are getting a product that's about to be discontinued, essentially. Like, I'm about to get a different... Like, I might have to change that across the entire thing. Like, I want all of the merch to be the same. So I'm not, like, there might not be any regular Gender Anarchy merch. And then I'll have to get a new hat. Uh-oh. Gotta buy more samples for myself. Goodness gracious. That'll make these ones rare collectibles. Exactly, yes. I do feel bad if anybody wanted to have, like, the actual logo, given that I hadn't, like, solidified it. I might give those people, like, a special discount code. Like, if you already bought merch, you know, and it has the old symbol, and you want the new one, like, I might have to... Thankfully, it was only, like, 10 purchases that have been made so far. So, hey, if you want to get one that's just the regular Gender Anarchy symbol, get in on it now, because pretty soon it's going to have a nice green splash behind it. Which, yeah, so that's going to be fun. I'm having a lot of fun doing all this, like, graphic design bullshit. I don't usually do that kind of stuff, but it's fun. Like, so this is one of the neat things about my career, is that I have to be a little bit good at a lot of different stuff. So I'm learning, you know, how to use Adobe Illustrator so that I can create graphic designs that I can put on my own merch. Like, I'm, like, literally doing Adobe Illustrator tutorials in order to learn how to do my own graphic design, because it's, as I, you know, it seems pretty straightforward, the kind of the stuff that I want to do. So I'm doing that rather than hiring someone. And, like, I use Photoshop and I use Premiere Pro. Like, there's a lot of different like skills that go into it. And so, and then in this case, like logo design involves like a little bit of tweaking and like artistic eye for these kind of things. So it's just fun. It's a fun little thing. I finished the first commission overrobe mock-up last night, and I hated it, so I decided I was making it too complicated and try it again. Feeling pretty good about it, especially as I love clothes pattern drawing. That's fun. That seems like a fun thing. Yeah, don't overcomplicate things. Like, frankly, a pretty simple design with, like, a couple of key elements that round out the character, like, that's what really makes a good costume. Like, if you look at Aragorn's sky, you know, this is a thing that we're gonna do sometimes. Aragorn, let's see if we can get a picture of his costume. Like, hold on. How am I gonna get a picture of him standing there? I want a picture of him standing there. Why are all these close-ups? Frankly, those movies do have a lot of close-ups. They do rely a lot on you getting that, like, emotional impact from the actor's face being right up there in your grill. Give me... listen. Okay, there it is. Okay, this is a tiny picture. Open image in new tab. Thank you. This is a tiny picture, so we're gonna need to buy some pixels. But, like, his outfit is not complicated. It's got, like, an overjacket thing. He's got the leather... not greaves. Bracers. He's got a little belt there. And the belt has a couple of things on it that he thought a ranger would need to have. Like, he's got his whetstone and, like, probably a packet of salt or something. Oh, yeah, these are Boromir's bracers. Yes, true. Yeah, he's got the strap thing holding his sword on his back, I think. No, his sword is down here. What is this? I don't know what that is. Is that his bow? I don't know. Anyway, but, like, it's not very fancy. This is good costume design. Like, it's pretty simple. He's got his little jacket. He's got his cloak. He's got a shirt that ties shut. And then he's wearing, like, pants and boots. It's not heavy. There's like a couple of key details on his costume. Like, okay, we've got the leaf from Lothlorien, and, you know, these, like, straps go to whatever. And, you know, the sword and the bracers kind of stand out a little bit. And he's got the ring. Those kind of, like, little elements. The ring is like, oh, that kind of... It's like, oh, wait, like, who gave that to him? What's going on behind that story? This thing is like, oh, that's a pop of green. I bet that's significant or, like, somewhat magical. Like, maybe they imbued some magic. They did. They imbued magic into these because he says later, or Legolas says later maybe, that the leaves of Lothlorien don't fall, like, aimlessly. Like, they don't fall accidentally. So, yeah, like, all you need is little things like that. So if you're doing character design, you're drawing something, trying to come up with a character, you don't need to do this, like, crazy complex, like, a bunch of different colors, a bunch of different elements, a million different things. Like, it doesn't need to be doesn't need to be like that. Lord of the Rings costumes are a masterpiece of costume storytelling. I aim to this height of mastery. True. I recently got the DVD collection. Not idly do the leaves of Lothlorien fall. Pippin deliberately... Yes, no, I remember. Yes, no. Yeah, that's the whole point of the scene. He's like... Because he's saying this wouldn't have fallen on the ground accidentally. It's been enchanted not to fall accidentally, so Pip threw it on the floor deliberately. Viggo Mortensen also liked to hike in his costume to make sure it looked properly road-worn. True. He's got the strap. True. So anyway, I really like thinking about those things. Oh man, I watched a PBS Eons video the other day, and I don't normally watch educational stuff like that. You know, I'm more of like let's watch a cooking show or a Good Mythical Morning. But I watched this PBS Eons episode because it was about the origins of clothing. Like, what historical evidence do we have for how long ago human beings started wearing clothing? And frankly, it's crazy that we know what we know, okay? I love PBS Eons. Now, yeah, I don't watch them very often, but so here's the thing. We have, okay, there's the obvious, okay? When you think of historical evidence, the obvious goes, okay, like, I I get the feeling it started with being cold. Yeah, sure. But like how long have we been doing this? And like where does the evidence point? So the evidence that we have, the obvious thing you would reach for is like garments. Okay? Like earliest evidence of garments is like a couple 10,000 years or something like that. Because obviously those things, you know, previously they were going to be made out of like plant fibers primarily. A lot of our clothing now has plastics in it, but stuff that's made out of plant will deteriorate over time. Yes? So we have garments, and then obviously besides garments, you can just have scraps of linen. That's another form of like evidence. You might not necessarily like have a complete idea of what it looked like, but yeah, like here's like a piece of linen. And then there's even more evidence like that, like, so there's some evidence that human evolution might have been somewhat influenced by the wearing of clothes, but like the earliest evidence that we have of clothes is actually like the body louse. Like the body louse and the head louse are two distinct species, and the body louse doesn't actually live on people's bodies, it lives on their clothes. So we can like go back and see when in the time of evolution, like how long ago did the two louses diverge, and we can put a pinpoint like God, a long time ago, like 100,000 years ago. Like I can't remember what she ended up saying at the end of the video. It's a pretty short video, and I highly recommend you watch it if you're interested in this kind of stuff. Like obviously the earliest clothes would have been simple stuff like just taking a skin and draping it over your shoulders, right? Like, you know, maybe you get a really long skin and it kind of drapes over your arms, and therefore it like stays a little bit more stable because it's hanging over your arms. But like, yeah, it's just so wild that we've been wearing clothes for such a fucking long time. It's basic, but it's just such a good jumping off point into topics. My bestie is an archaeologist in ancient human civilizations. We had this conversation, swapping papers that we had found about bone needles that had been found, including those that had a classic chisel tip for leather. Truly fascinating. Yeah. Like, you know, evidence of needles and the Roman dodecahedron thing that people talk about. Like it's like a Roman dodecahedron thing. It's got like holes in it, and then it's got these nubs around the outside, and they couldn't figure out what it was for a really long time. And then some people who had expertise in like the yarn and clothing making realized that this thing is used for knitting the fingers of gloves. Like, how fucking cool is that shit? Like, human beings are crazy. Do you want to see a picture of it? This is the Roman dodecahedron. Like, I watched some of this YouTube video of this lady using one of them to make a finger, and they're really, really cool. Like, that's just super neat. Have we found evidence of the people who said that clothes were just the establishment trying to control you and make you scared? Afraid they've been lost to the annals of time. I'm afraid so. There's no getting them back now. Oh my god, apparently my voice is gonna hurt a lot today. Yeah, I've heard so many crazy theories for what those things were used for over the years. Yeah. Like, I think the original people who were studying it concluded that, like, oh, this is something to do with them, oh, like, it has something to do with the stars or mathematics. Like, you wouldn't understand. Like, girl, it's for knitting. Like, it's pretty fascinating. Because, like, each side has, like, a different size hole. So it's like for your 5 different fingers. And you can, the way that they're made is that you could stop short and have like a finished glove that is like just a finger glove. Or you can have one and you can like get the tips all nice and have like full coverage. Time is an illusion, and so are pants. It's true. Would you be disappointed to know that I'm always wearing pants in our videos? Would you be disappointed? Maybe that'll change when I live in Seattle because it'll be so much hotter there. Like, it won't, it'll be not hotter there, but like most places don't have air conditioning is what I'm saying. Most housing in, and maybe it would be, like, if the houses are engineered, like, here's another thing that I would really like to go research a little bit more about is like ancient styles of air conditioning. Cause like, I've seen it more modernly, like, not more modernly, but those houses where people are like, this house is made entirely out of recycled materials and it's built into the side of a hill. So this one was like built into the side of a hill and it has I think it's called the Earth Ship. Is that the one? Excuse me. It's called the Earth Ship. And it's got this big, glass front built into the side of the hill. And like through the hill, they have like ventilation, like not tunnels because they're too small, but like basically ventilation shafts sort of built in that go through the hill. And like the way that the building is designed, and I think that this is based off of designs from people who live in the desert, like Arabic designs, like that part of the world, Middle Eastern, like buildings where, because there didn't used to be technology for coolant, they used like the differential pressure of air and like the fact that air is cooler. Obviously, if it goes underground, then air is like 50 degrees underground, 55. Lux is giving skater vibes. Ooh, okay, I'll take it. But yeah, so I think that that's probably a good thing to learn about. I don't know if I were to buy a house in the modern age, I don't know if the modern engineering practices are open to being changed in this way where you can use a natural cooling system. But I do think it's really interesting. And obviously, like, if I were to build a house, I would probably try to keep that in mind because who knows if you're going to run out of, like, you're going to have an electrical grid go down in the middle of the summer. Because listen, if I'm going to move to the Seattle area, they do have wildfires there. So if they have wildfires, that's like can destroy electrical infrastructure. Sometimes they can be started by electrical infrastructure, and that's going to happen during the hot time of the year. I'm betting that housing prices will eventually drop once 3D printing makes housing creation cost a lot less than the cost of land itself. Violet, I don't think that applies because there are already more empty houses than there are homeless people in this country. It's not about the availability of housing or the cost of housing or anything. Like, you think that the people who print those 3D printed houses aren't going to charge you, like, what houses used to cost? Makes sense as to why they were found in Britain as well. Cold climate, gloves come in handy. Yeah, they were found in mountainous regions and in northernish regions. So you have those, like, yeah, you have the need for gloves. I'm teaching myself historical sewing and pattern making to carry on the tradition of making clothes within a community, as well as providing myself a physical, tangible connection to those who came before. Twitchy Witch, you have some really cool interests that I am into. I like those things. Are you in the Discord? Because you should be. We found ancient Roman central heating systems under floors, and we know that many buildings were built with materials that had essentially breathability like wood, clays, and bricks. Well, yeah, so like they would travel warm water underneath the floors, right, to warm them. I've been in a house before that was like, it had an earthen floor actually, and like water running under. And that house also was made. I hope you find this conversation really interesting because I find sustainability and stuff like really fascinating. But it was a cob cottage basically. So the inside layer is usually straw. That's like your insulating layer. Hay, straw, I don't know, whatever they come in, like, whatever, bales. And then you take like this mixture of clay and straw and horse manure and limestone, basically, and you kind of like make that into a nice putty, a nice paste, and then you like smear it on, and then the outermost layer is just limestone, And yeah, it's pretty neat stuff. It's like really cool, those earth houses. If I were to buy, it would be during the next housing crash. Otherwise, I would rather rent. Yeah, I don't know when the next housing crash is going to happen. Totally disagree. It's intriguing, not fascinating. Ugh. Nouvenol, we can't be friends anymore. I have a friend who has a bunker. It was built partly into a hillside and partly into a cave system. His father bought and built it. He put over $1 million into the thing, says he'd rather have the cash for the inheritance. Oh gosh. I'd rather rent so it'll be easier to cut losses if I need to move/flee. So here's my thing, guys. I'm gonna move to Seattle, okay? That area at least, probably. And like, or like Washington in general. I don't know, maybe it won't be in Seattle, or maybe it'll be in Oregon. I don't know. Like some area over there where it's gonna be climate stable for the next 40 years, okay? Because I've seen some projections about what's gonna happen to the climate across the country. Hit the like button if you are also thinking about preparing for the impending water shortages that will be here by 2050. Like those are the kinds of things that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how am I going to be in a place that is like climate stable where I'm A, less likely to experience extreme temperatures and water shortages, and B, going to be able to live through those things. Like can I buy land that has, can I dig to the aquifer and get a well? Is there a well? Can I do a well? Am I going to be able to have sustainable, like, the ability to produce food? So I'm thinking, like, okay, I actually do think that owning a little bit of land is a great idea because I don't want to be fucked. Like, if the climate, like, the government shit, the transphobia and shit doesn't matter as much because the government is going to collapse if the climate fucks up as bad as it's going to. You know what I mean? There are several examples in Roman Bath, which is a British town, of villas channeling geothermal springs under houses for heating. Yeah, that's good stuff. I prefer underground housing to traditional housing. It makes zero sense the way traditional white picket fence houses are in the USA when both towers and underground housing are both way more effective designs. Yeah. I'm sure I'm not going to be able to buy an underground house. I'd have to build it, which would be a huge pain in the ass. But, you know, then you can start from scratch and, like, set up your solar system or whatever. Like, get your well water figured out, get a filtration system, get you some chickens. I don't know. I like, this is what makes me feel positive about the future, by the way, guys. Like, the transphobia is happening, the climate change is happening. Like, this is how I am envisioning my future. This is a thing that my therapist had me do a while back when there were some troublesome things happening in my life. She was like, I need you to have a clear idea in your head of what your life is going to look like in 2 years. If, you know, if we assume everything goes as badly as it possibly can right now, how are you going to look in a couple years? And so I think that this is like actually quite healing for me to be like, I could see the future. You know what I mean? Like, I am able to imagine someplace where I'm living happy and healthy and I can make plans. I've been super privileged to have had a family that has been bulk cooking for years. We volunteered as a family for various soup kitchens, and we deliberately keep food stored for when people need it. I'm sitting here like, I'm buying beans. I'm buying dried beans because I want to be able to do more recipes, and I don't want to keep buying a bunch of fucking cans of beans, basically. Like, so I got a shit ton of beans and, like, chickpeas and rice, and, like, I have an Instant Pot, so if I need to have beans, I can just be like, do the Instant Pot beans thing. You don't have to let your beans soak or whatever, but they keep forever, you know? You can grow beans and store them, dehydrate them, put them in a jar, and then just fuck off, like, have beans. So, and, like, having a lot of good recipes that you know how to cook those things, keeping things fresh, very important. Oh, I can tag products in my live shows. Oh, I didn't know that I could do that. Oh, that's convenient. cool. That way people can see the hat and they can buy it if they want to. People also really like the tank top for some reason, so that's always good. There. Look at that. There's products tagged in the stream now. Crazy. Okay. Anyway. What we now refer to as fuck you levels of money will be fuck you levels of beans in the climate apocalypse. Listen, if you need to trade for some beans, like some things that I will not be producing will be, like, I am not going to raise cattle. So if you want to trade some beans for some cows, you know, not for some cows, but for some straight up just cattle, we'll work something out. We'll work out a deal. If you want access to my water, you know, you might have to give me some of your beef. Give the beef. Not gonna lie, cows are a bad investment compared to goats. Yeah, I personally can see myself raising goats. I could see myself raising rabbits. I could see myself raising maybe sheep. It sucks that you can't get a hold of sheep meat that much in the United States. I was, so I got this app from this British channel about here's a bunch of recipes for food stuff. And like on their cheap recipes, they'll have a lamb on there. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I Googled it a little bit and I realized that lamb is just a lot less expensive in Britain. Like, they just have more sheep over there, I'm assuming. Like, obviously, they have a lot less land, so they probably can't dedicate that much land to cows. And, like, a lot of the land in the UK it's kind of rocky soil, as I understand it. So there's a lot of shrubbery and like, types of grass that are kind of hard for other animals to eat. And the sheep just go to town. So I guess it's just a lot easier to get sheep there. But, yeah. Part of me wants to raise horses, but just because some of my ancestors had a horse ranch. So, listen, horses can be good. They're pretty dangerous animals. You know, like as far as animals, they can really fuck shit up if they get spooked. You know, so for like horses, if you breed, like obviously if we don't have gasoline, horses are going to be used to travel. Clearly, also having a plow situation. Like. Plow horses. We can have 2 plow horses. One of them is going to be named Burka. I would have a donkey before I had a horse. For the purposes of like pulling your wagon, plowing and breeding. Shh. No smuggies. Hit the like button if you're enjoying this conversation. I am a political streamer and we talk about all kinds of different issues. I personally think that talking about sustainability is important. I think talking about exercise and wellness is important. And I think that, like, they're important politically as leftists, specifically. So, like, workshopping our ideas for how we're going to get a hold of things that we need. Who's going to make wax? How are we, like, who's going to, like, listen, seriously, we need candles. Who's going to learn to make wax? Who's going to learn to make, like, essential oils so that we can add scents to stuff? We got to be careful with essential oils, guys, because they can be toxic to animals. So you don't actually want to burn essential oils indoors if you can help it, unless the windows are open or something. Bees! Oh my god, bees! I hadn't even thought about that, Twitchy Witch. That's such a good idea. I should have, like, I don't really even feel the need to, like, maintain the bees and, like, take their honey, because I don't actually like honey. Well, I don't know. I like certain flavored honeys. And I've also heard that Kansas honey sucks balls. So, also you hate chickens, but they are useful too. I hate chickens. I would honestly, like, I just want someone else to do the chickens so that I can trade for, like, honestly, like, I'll give you all of my kitchen scraps. If you get keep the fucking chickens away from me. Give me the eggs. I'll take the occasional meat. I actually love eating chicken. I eat chicken all the fucking time. Wax is so fucking useful. Wax is a great lubrication. Like, you can use wax to seal bottles. It's the best. Yeah, exactly. It's the best low-tech sealing you can get. I'm assuming that it would be, you know, we could have a solar panel thing set up so that you could use a vacuum sealer or whatever. How about quail or ducks? I could see myself doing quail. Quail eggs are supposed to be really yummy, right? They're little tiny. They're supposed to be really yummy. Andy's Mints, what's up? Hello, welcome in. You got your tank top already, and you ordered something else. I got my hat finally. Look at me, got my hat finally. Right before I'm about to change the design fundamentally. Urban beekeeping is a big community. There are several groups online that will help you get set up. Nice. Start befriending local livestock farmers, I guess? I'm wondering how we'd get a hold of some livestock animals. Yeah, like, I mean, I'm guessing, like, I'll buy my first 2 goats, and they'll probably cost, like, a few $100 each if I buy a couple of baby goats, and then raise them, and then hopefully they breed, and then I could have goats. Quail eggs are supposed to be good. Just gonna need a lot of eggs. True. What's the conversion? If I'm making a recipe, and the recipe calls for 1 large chicken egg, I guess that's why you need ducks, because ducks have roughly the same size of eggs as chickens. They're a little bit bigger, but they're supposed to be really good for baking. Just get a couple of platypus. They make milk and eggs. How would fisheries work? I had never really considered that. I don't know. Like, who fishes? That doesn't really... See, that's another thing where I'm like, cool, like, so dairy or meat goats. I was thinking more dairy goats. Obviously, if they're breeding, then some of them are going to be for meat naturally, right? But primarily dairy, in the sense of, like, you can make cheese as well as having the milk, and... Yeah, so I'll make cheese, and I'll trade for the fish, because I don't know anything about doing fishing shit. That sounds fucking terrible, honestly. I like to eat fish sometimes, but I've also been eating fish a lot less on account of the, like, microplastics thing. Like, I'm just trying to eat a lot less fish, because we don't really understand what the effects of microplastics are. I think that infertility is one of the biggest ones, and I personally don't know that I want to have kids that way. So it might not impact me that much to be, like, maybe I don't need to be avoiding fish, but we don't know what the long-term effects are. So I'm trying to avoid foods that I know for sure have microplastics in them. Temperament matters a lot for dairy, though. Oh, you mean because they won't let you milk them if they have a bad attitude? Biggest thing for microplastics is filtering water. Food is relatively small by comparison. Sure. Yeah, sure. And, like, again, like, that's one of the things that I'm planning to do is get a well, or maybe, like, I guess depending on where we live, we could have a fog collection system. If you haven't seen those before, they're pretty cool. Let me pull up the Wikipedia page. Or maybe not the Wikipedia page. Are there some good images? Can we get some images? Yeah, so you can also do a fog collection, which is basically like these big fuck-off screens that basically, like, you know, it's like a fine mesh, so they catch moisture from the air, and then as it condenses, it travels down. And so this actually might be one of the cleaner ways to get water. You know, I would probably still want to filter it anyway, but this is probably one of the cleaner ways to get water, because evaporation gives you really clean water. Like, think about it. Like, if you have a pool of water and it's evaporating up, the thing that's evaporating is the water molecules, you know? And so they enter, yes, distilling is a good option. This is how distilling works. You evaporate the water, and then it condenses at a single point, and it gets collected. And so you can actually create something like this by, you can dig a hole in the ground. I forget what it's called. Is it solar still? Hold on. You can dig a hole in the ground like this. Just dig a shallow hole, put a cup in the middle. You can put a drinking tube down there if you don't want to keep digging it out. So you take a sheet of plastic, obviously like a clean sheet of plastic, and you put a rock down there in the middle, and you can also throw some green foliage down in your hole. So it will start to evaporate, and then it will condense on the sheet, and then it'll drip down, and that's clean water, baby. You put some rocks on the surface around the hole, and like that's clean water. I learned about those from Better Call Saul. Yeah. Zero water is one of the only filters that does BPA if you're looking for affordable water filters for BPA. Zero water. Is that a brand? I'm assuming that's a brand. So, and like I'm telling you guys this stuff, and the reason why we're thinking about it is, again, if you weren't here when we talked about this previously, there are going to be global water shortages very soon. Currently, the year is 2023. It's about to be 2024. Reminder, it's December now. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. It's that time of year. Main thing is just to not use Brita because it's basically useless. I mean, it filters out some of the hard water stuff and some of the salt. But yeah, for the most part, it's not going to filter out like the plastics. Anyway, but like, yeah, 5 billion people are going to be affected to some degree by water shortages in 30 years' time, by the year 2050. And that's going to be like affecting more and more people as we grow to that point. So, you know, it's going to be 5 billion people in 2050, but it's going to be like a couple billion people by 2040. It's that time of year where we reflect on how much time has been wasted in the fight against climate change. I'm going to leave the fighting against climate change to other people. I'm shifting my strategy. My strategy is, how do I personally survive the climate crisis? And maybe if I have enough land, then I'll be the place where we start the commune, and I will be a benevolent dictator about what we do on the land. That's the only way. You know, that's the interesting conversation. We've talked about this a little bit recently on stream too. Like, you know, there is kind of, no matter what, going to be a hierarchy so long as someone owns the land. I guess if the government collapses and there's no one to enforce land ownership, then yeah, whatever. But so long as there's land ownership, if I go buy a chunk of land, then like no matter what, if push comes to shove, if there are questions about what we do on the land, like I own it, you know? I should have gone to school for botany. I'm getting my bachelor's in psychology next Friday. You can have a go. You should have gotten your minor in botany. You should have done that. You should have been a therapist who uses plants in your therapy. You could have done that. You could have invented a whole new type of therapy. Like horse therapy, you could have done your own thing. Ownership of land is a scam. You want to be mobile a la First Nation tribes. Staying in place is a bad strategy. I don't think it's a bad strategy if I am able to firmly establish like food production and water access, when like those two things are going to become more and more fraught and like harder and harder to come by. In a land where resources are relatively abundant, then sure, it's probably better to be mobile. But like, yeah, you can do food production and water relatively mobile. I mean, I suppose. I mean, it's clearly been done in the past, you know? Some of my ancestors were nomadic, but really it's semi-nomadic because you need agriculture. Yeah. If Vosh owns all the coconuts, Luxander will own all the bananas. Oh no! I am not that familiar with this hypothetical, but I know that the coconuts are a meme. Oh, Ursa, that's a really cool line of work. I'm going to be starting a new role as a production tech for my blood center. If things go well, I'll pursue certification for medical electronics repair so I can fix medical machines. Ursa, you might want to talk to Violet Lane in the website chat, because Violet works for a company that makes medical devices, I think. So you might want to talk to each other if you're going into that kind of work. Oh, used to work for a company. Okay. Used to. I thought that you still did. My bad. Yeah, you'd have to pick a spot that's hard to access. That's the thing too, is, you know, where, you know, I don't want to be too rural and be really far away from everything and not have access to the internet while the internet still exists. But also I want to be remote enough that if there's roving bands of people who try to steal shit, hopefully I can be far enough out of the way that nobody finds me. Because I don't really want to have to be thinking about the defensive thing, but I am going to be having to think about the defensive thing. Like, I'm on homesteading Reddit, okay? I'm on homesteading Reddit, and I found myself unironically the other day thinking the phrase "when shit hits the fan," and that's the phrase that gets used in these prepper groups. Is SHTF, when shit hits the fan. Yeah, but it's true. I'm becoming a prepper. Like this is what I've become. Only doing contract labor now. Okay, so Violet is doing contract labor for a company that makes medical devices for disabled folks and things. So Ursa, you might want to get in touch just in case, because I know that Violet lives in Canada as well. So if you're trying to make a move to Canada, maybe that could be good. The big misconception preppers have is that it's going to be all at once. In reality, it will be stages. Yeah, don't feel bad. I've been one for years. Okay, Mersh, high fives. Have you ever thought about booby trapping the caves on your land, or do you feel like the fact that it's a cave is enough of a booby trap? Is Mad Max our future? Kind of. Are they making a Mad Max prequel, guys? I'm so glad that y'all are sticking around for this conversation, by the way. I realize that we're supposed to talk about the national trans sports ban, and we will, but I find this conversation a lot more interesting. The critter that lives in the cave is booby trapping a fair. Did you see the Wasteland Con video that is run in Cali Desert? No, I haven't. This conversation is trans joy. Homesteading, prepper bullshit. This is trans joy. Now, I just need to take this more literally, this transgender anarchy symbol more literally, and we just need to shift the conversation into making estrogen in bathtubs, you know? I hardly remember Fury Road. Was it really that forgettable of a movie? I never watched Fury Road. But I think that they're making a prequel, because I saw something recently that was like, ooh, Chris Hemsworth finally gets to play a villain. And I'm like, oh, is he going to play like a younger version of the main villain guy from Fury Road? I don't know. Excuse me. It was, it's like it's that dystopia, though, where it is sort of a premonition of future times, not necessarily in how severe it is. But, I mean, I do think it's interesting that movie, like, I've never seen it, but I kind of have gathered from the zeitgeist what it's about. So it's like, okay, at some point in the movie, there's, like, a guy who, like, owns a bunch of women, and he's, like, impregnating them, and she helps them escape, okay? That's what I know about that. And then there's the whole, do not become addicted to water, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it does look at, how in an apocalyptic situation, if, like, the dangers of having people who can't defend themselves, and how, like, this intersection between restricting access to resources and power dynamics and, like, sexist power dynamics. So, like, yeah, I probably should get around to watching it at some point. I really enjoyed Fury Road, especially as it is really a vision of how solidarity and collective ownership defeats fascism and toxic masculinity. Yeah, like, I don't know a lot about its underlying political messages, but that is sort of the vibe that I have gotten from it. We need teachers, too. I think that's kind of what I am. This prepping convo has just gotten my gears turning. Right, you're thinking, what do we need? In this future, we need people to mind the children. We need people to teach. We need people who are like keeping and holding the knowledge. Grr. It's like, the person who's cooking is not necessarily good at teaching how to cook. That's a whole thing. You are a type of teacher. We also need sex ed teachers. I'd argue that therapists can be a form of teacher. Sure. I recently purchased... Oh my god. I recently purchased the DBT Skills Training Manual. And I also have my DBT book for, like, the one that it has all the, like, forms for, like, you as a person who are going to actually fill out all this stuff. But, like, this is all scientific, baby. Like, and even if you don't have borderline personality disorder, which this program was specifically designed to treat, even if you don't have that, all of these practices are evidence-based. Like, it's very good shit. So even if we don't have therapists on the commune. I at least have a big book of therapy skills. Yeah, dock and ball torture. Did you mean to say dick and ball torture? Oh no. What's up, Richard? Yeah, repair and trade teachers, helping work with building materials and renovating surviving spaces. Jesus Christ. Yeah, like the whole concept of how to make a building not fall down. Trying to think of what I would be on the commune, and I think I could be a trauma-focused somatic teacher, but I'd have to work on the teaching part. Sure. And, like, there's going to be all kinds of different jobs. Some people are going to need to be, like, organizers in the kitchen. Some people are going to need to be, like, helpers in the kitchen. We'll probably, like, if we actually had a commune kind of thing, we would have to rotate out jobs, probably. Like, that would be the thing that would make sense. Very likely people will wear many hats. Exactly. Yeah, you'll help in the kitchen one week, and then you'll go, like, shovel horse shit the next week or something. Like, can I just be the buff lady who chops firewood? Yeah, we need one of those. We need one buff lady who chops firewood, and that's the only thing she does. Magnifique. I assume that you're not going to fell the trees. You're just going to stand in your one location until someone brings you a tree. And then you'll start chopping. I can be the person who films that buff lady. There you go. I caved into a purchase, but a good purchase. I'm learning sign language. Yes, frankly, I've been thinking like that I've been thinking about it for a fucking decade that I should learn sign language, but I don't know what's a good way to do that. I think I actually found a free teaching course that has it. I would need to go dig through some of my emails. Those videos will be what we trade for resources. Well, we could sell like 30-minute... It would be like theater slots, like a 30-minute slot to just stand there and watch Mama Mephistopheles chop firewood, and then they'll give us something. Like, yeah, bro, we want some of your, we want some of those chicken eggs, because fuck chickens, but we want some of those eggs, so you can go watch Mama cut wood for half an hour. On a commune, there has to be lots of discipline, methods of conflict resolution, as personalities will inevitably crash, and safeguards against abuse. We can look to the Mars Desert Program and 80s commune efforts for mistakes and figure out how we could change it. Right. Just, this is one of the great things about being human. It's one of the things that I love is that I can actually learn from other people's mistakes. Like, you know, I've never had someone cut way too much of my hair off when I've gone to get my long hair trimmed, you know, because I saw online so many people going, oh my God, she cut off way more than I wanted. And so I just learned from that and was like, oh, now that I want to grow my hair long, I am not going to let anyone cut it anymore because inevitably someone's going to cut more of it than I want. So instead I sit here and cut off my dead ends when I can see them. So I just love that I don't have to make the same mistakes that have already been made 800 million goddamn times by numerous other individuals. I can just instead, like, read about it and not fuck it up myself. Amazing. Yeah, and it's, yeah, again, the defense issue. Cross-training for scouts/guards, since splintered groups probably won't have a lot of trained fighters and gunmen. Right. Any amount of organization you have as far as security goes is probably going to be more than what your assailants are going to have. But stuff like, you know, putting bushes of fucking blackberries and raspberries close to the home is a kind of defense. Like putting roses or blackberries directly under the windows of your house is a type of defense. It's also really, it can be really important not to have like a bunch of shit around in your yard. Like, you know those old yards where people just have like half of a half of a car here and like a rotting bale of hay over here. Like, those are gonna invite people to come mess with your stuff and like poke around. Like, ooh, that I can just like hide behind this while I look around at this thing, you know. Most attacks are done from internal conflict, not external, usually from inequality. Right. I wonder how much of a... I'm sure that this is like a whole area of study on its own, like social dynamics in small groups like communes. But I just feel like there haven't been very many examples of communes, and specifically not very many examples of communes that didn't also have a cult aspect going on. That I just don't know how realistic we could rely, like how realistically we could rely on any previous data about the social dynamics there. But I don't know. It's interesting. I'm sure, like, again, I'm sure that there's an entire fucking field of study about it. Preserving books, archivists and librarians will be important in preserving knowledge. True. Right. For now, we have the internet. And for so long as we have electricity, you can have a several terabyte hard drive that just has like all of the information on tiny house building and homesteading and security and like survival and like all this shit. You could probably have all of that knowledge on one hard drive, but for only for so long as you have electricity. Mama says, I'll be the cult leader. I promise to be responsible. I bet you do. I do know of actually several of communes, but you are right about the cult part. They do have a problem with that, right? I mean, but I guess it's because, like, what incentive do people usually have to start a commune, right? Most folks, if they have the option to be in society and, like, have running water and, like, a normal life and access to a grocery store and all this, then what is going to motivate your average person to go join a commune? Well, I actually don't think that your average person is going to want to join a commune like that, but, like, certain vulnerable people would want to join a commune if they were tricked into it by someone who has, like, a cult personality going on. If you have solar, running out of electronics won't be an issue. If you have good solar, yeah. Access would be a problem because of limited runtime per day. Well, so limited runtime per day, you have a battery bank if you have a solar panel system. I've lived in a house with a solar panel system, and you do have a battery bank. But what goes, like, engineering that goes into the battery bank, how long are they gonna last? They work, even if half your batteries go down, that's still some amount, you can have the lights on at night kind of thing. Windmills and wind turbines are also very feasible. Yeah. And, like, if you have running water, then you can put, like, a wheel in the water. Of course, that's, like, yeah, that's assuming that not only do you have water on your land, but you have fast running water that's enough to carry through like a physical generation of electricity through the mill. Cult of the Lamb? I haven't played that one. I've heard it's really good. This is why I buy physical copies of books I enjoy. I got the DBT skills training manual. I got a book called Wildflowers and Grasses of Kansas, and I could very easily buy I have a foraging book. What is it called? It's called Mushrooming with Confidence. It's going to help you identify 8 mushrooms with, like, absolutely no question as to what those mushrooms are, and they're definitely edible, and not only edible, but also they taste okay. Like, they taste decent. So those are the kind of books that are going to be good to have. I'm 100% sure that my mother-in-law has a bunch of books about homesteading and tiny houses and shit like that, and I don't actually know. If I asked her, I wonder if she would give them to me. Probably. If I was like, yeah, but I'm actually going to maybe do something like this, it's like, you already live in your house and you own it. You're not going to build a fucking earth home at this point in your life. When you give me the books, please. The Amish are very into small-scale solar. They use it to charge hand tools and lanterns. Oh, that's neat. I know that they don't completely eschew technology. Dr. Stone also showed how to build a hydroelectric dam. It's a great show if you want ideas for prepping, like how to make gunpowder from volcanoes. Dr. Stone? I don't know that I'm going to be able to find that from a quick little Google search. The difference between a cult and a tribe, I think, is that a tribe has a deep familial connection and an internal culture of cooperation stemming from individual need. Western cults and communes struggle because of our assumption that we haven't untangled hierarchical individualist culture from those assumptions of capitalism. Yeah, I know. It's hard to not carry the old order in. Oh, it's a manga series. Oh, okay, so it is an anime. Got it. I googled it and I was like, this is an anime. I don't think that this anime is what you were talking about. But no, it is. That is what it is. Okay, cool. The Mennonites are downright ingenious in their limited use of technology. They have a good balance. Yeah, we gotta find land near a volcano now. I gotta live in Montana now. That's where the... Right? That's Montana is where the thing is? It's one of the smarter manga if you are wanting to learn practical science. Okay, interesting. Divini in the YouTube chat says, I got solar for my house recently. I didn't get a battery bank, but between bill reduction plus the home value added plus the tax credit, it's still worth it financially without the battery. Right. The battery is under the assumption that, like, you know, electricity might go down, right? But I'm assuming, you know, if you can afford solar on your house, I am going to assume that you have a generator. Mount St. Helen is in Washington, and that one is a volcano, was active until a few decades ago, IRC. What are your thoughts on mobile homes? Would they be preferable in this situation? I mean, so mobile, how mobile is the mobile home? Are you talking about something, could you hitch it to a couple of donkeys or horses or like oxen and have them drag your home around? Like, if you're trying to do the nomad thing, then sure. If your profession is to travel from one place to another exchanging goods, then sure. Like, I think that those will be practical for some people. Like, other folks in the chat are more on the nomad side. I'm more on the, like, no, I need to have my one little area and, like, hunker down and try to create long-term sustainability in one location. So, but I mean, mobile homes, like, are you talking about, like, trailers? There's not much blackouts where I am. I mean, I'm just saying, like... Okay, so here's Divini. I want to tell you something that happened this past summer, if you didn't know about it, okay? In Italy, they had this extreme heat wave, right? And all these wildfires and stuff. And on account of this extreme heat wave, you know, they're like the roads are usually like black because they're made out of asphalt, right? The utility lines... The electrical lines that were running under the roads, they're encased in a plastic tube. And it got so hot under the roads that the plastic melted, and that caused a bunch of fires and electrical shortages and I think water shortages. So, like, one thing that you might think, oh, there's not really that many blackouts where I live. But how hot does it get during the summer where you live? And is it going to continue trending toward getting hotter where you live? Because you might have the unexpected thing, like you would not think, oh, the literal pipes are going to melt and the electrical lines are going to go down because any underground electrical service is going to go through pipes. And those pipes have to be like waterproof, basically. And so if they melt, then you have water contact, you have sparks, like that's... where an infrastructure failure happens that people don't really often consider. And all of our, like, a lot of our above ground infrastructure is also really super old. So that's some of the issues that we've been having with the California wildfires, as I understand it, is that it's literally that they refuse to update the infrastructure because investing in that kind of construction overhaul would basically harm the profits of any given year that they decided to make those kind of big infrastructure overhauls. So they just kind of don't do them until parts of the system go down and absolutely require necessary maintenance. Like, oh, well, we have to go replace these transformers instead of replacing them before the point of failure, because that's always going to be, like, less economically viable. In theory, by the time the grid is fully down on a large scale, salvaging generators are going to be very possible for centuries. They are very unprotected and easy to make if you know what you're doing. Salvaging generators? I'm not familiar with those specifically. That sustainable location will only last until the season finale of whatever TV show's apocalypse we end up in. I know. We only have so much time. In California, the only thing that really helped mitigate our wildfire season is the unprecedented amount of summer rain we got. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this view of California as really dry is fairly recent because you guys naturally are like an area with a lot of wetlands. I mean, it's kind of like Kansas as I understand it. Kansas naturally has a lot of prairie and wetlands. Before industrialization happened in this area, like you know, everybody always thinks, oh, Kansas, it's a bunch of grass. And it's like, yeah, there's a bunch of grass, but that grass facilitates wetlands. And those are a quite unique ecosystem. You know, they keep water in the environment and stuff. So, and as I understand it, the main reason why California doesn't have those wetlands, and one of the reasons why y'all are so susceptible to these fires, is because y'all built some big ass dams that prevent like the water table from rising. So, you know, I think that the main reason why it's quote unquote so dry in California is just because y'all messed up the wetlands. I say y'all, obviously. Excuse me. We've been in a drought for a while. Unfortunately, the rain moved 2 levels of drought, thankfully, but we are still in a drought. I was thinking about that too. Like, if I move to the West Coast, I don't know, Gay Fesh isn't in here right now, so I can't ask anyone who lives in Oregon or Washington, like, does the drought ever affect you guys as that far north? I know California regularly is like, you know, y'all need to be restricting how much water you're using, take shorter showers, blah, blah, blah. I don't actually know if that happens further north, though. Avi, you live in Oregon. Oregon, okay, you have wildfires in Oregon, yes, I am assuming. Do you have drought problems in Oregon, or do you guys usually are okay with that? Because you are only one state north of California, right? That's right. It should be California, Oregon, Washington. NorCal is so much better, but SoCal is def fucked. There's a map somewhere of Cali's drought. I'll find it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not saying that electricity is like the biggest issue as far as long-term like survivability on a commune or whatever, but you know, a distill, like a still for distilling water, you know, the ones that you can buy today on Amazon use electricity. And a vacuum sealer for sealing in the freshness of your food uses electricity. Southeastern Oregon is super gonna get affected by the drought soon. Okay, I was thinking about living closer to the ocean because the ocean is gonna have a tempering effect on any climate change in that area. It's mostly the fires and dryness issues. I live in Eugene though, so it's the most humid part besides the actual coast. So the fires and yeah, so when you have fires and dryness issues, like I assume that that's coastal regions have less drought. Yeah, that's my logic. So here's the current drought monitor in California. North California and the very southeastern tip of Cali right now, abnormally dry. So not too terrible at the moment, but still technically. Obviously the communication benefits of electricity, yes. If nothing else, electricity pays for the cost of making it because of the healthcare benefits. True. Yeah, like incubators for premature babies and like the complex systems required to keep someone alive. Like, you know, just like I need light to be able to do this surgery here, you know? It used to be really severe in SoCal. Yeah, it's fucking December. It does not surprise me that you're not in the most intense part of your drought in December. I'm sure it will continue to be fairly dry through the winter, and then it'll alleviate in spring, and then it'll get terrible again. Hello, Anansi! Welcome in. It's funny to me that Arizona has been growing so fast in the last 10 years. Like, there's not going to be any water soon, you idiots. It's probably because it's much cheaper to live there. I mean, I imagine that they have to sell the houses for relatively cheap so that people will buy them. We've had fires closer and closer to us, though. Like the campground I used to go to growing up burned down like 1 to 2 summers ago. That's another thing I'm thinking about in this long-term sustainability issue is like if I were to buy a house on a chunk of land, one of the things that you got to do is like make sure that the tree line is far enough away from your house that if like a wildfire encroaches on your house, then you might still have to leave the area because of the smoke. You might still lose some of your livestock because of the smoke, but you would hopefully like not lose your house. It's easy to sell land when there's no water in the way. One of the myths I like that Dr. Stone subverts is the idea that in an apocalypse we would abandon science. Progress doesn't disappear as long as we can store data. That's another. I was going to say that earlier when someone was saying we would need teachers on the commune. I was like, we would need researchers. I don't think I said that out loud, but that was my idea. Like, we would need people to continue testing and learning. This is why doctors, chemists, and engineers are so valuable. I don't believe in the quote overpopulation myth, but if I did, I'd say that we could always lose the bankers, corporate goons, and CEOs. They don't have any useful skills. Can you imagine having a fucking business degree when the climate and like the economy collapse? Can you imagine having a fucking business degree and like now you're trying to like deal with water shortages and like you just have no real skills? I always say the library is my first stop after the world ends. I would take the whole reference and nonfiction sections. I wouldn't maybe take all of them, but I would definitely go seek out some of these relevant books. Maybe that's part of what I should be doing over the next 5 years is just build my library of books that teach you how to safely can food. Like I want to learn every single way to preserve food. How to preserve food with salt, how to preserve food with sugar, how to preserve through canning, and like how to make sure everything is good. And knowing lots of different foods to make, apple butter. I was like, what the fuck do you even make with apple butter? Because I bought a bunch recently, and I love apple butter. It's delicious on a slice of toast. But what do you actually do with apple butter? Baking recipes, you can cook it in savory dishes as well. And apple butter exists because people needed to find a way to store apples. And you'd have a lot of them in the fall, and you'd make, your apple pies, and you'd make your jams and your jellies. And, apple butter is shelf stable for a long time because it has so much sugar in it that it's inhospitable to bacterial growth. Kind of like how honey is shelf stable for an incredibly long time. Am I gonna put this entire thing on the channel? I think that this entire conversation has to go on the channel. I've been talking about this for like a straight up hour, but I got some apple butter yesterday to put on crackers. Ooh, you know what? You should try, Mama, let me know how it goes. Put some cheese and then some apple butter and let me know how that goes. I would love to know how it is. Honey basically doesn't go bad, it just crystallizes. Yeah, and then you just need to warm it back up. Excuse me. Business degrees in the apocalypse are going to be a low-key red flag. How to pilfer and con people's stuff. Yeah, if you have a business degree in the apocalypse, like, you are not allowed to have any power over anything. and we're going to put a guy whose entire job is to watch you and make sure you don't do any fucked up shit. And then we're going to have a guy who watches that guy just in case you try to bribe him. All I have is shredded Mexican cheese. I love the shredded Mexican blend cheese. I mean, sure, it's going to be really starchy, but you can try that. I'd like to be able to make my own fish jerky. I don't think that works very well because fish is so flaky. I don't know how you'd get it into one, like, chunk. I legit have a library of practical skills books, as well as history, poetry, classic literature, and others. Yeah, Twitchy, you and I have a lot of shared interests, and I enjoy that. I would, if you would, like, be interested in putting together a list of, like, 5, like, what are the 5 absolutely essential practical skills books? And I will make a point of starting to buy those for myself. Saltfish, they used to keep them in barrels in country stores. Is that like a jar? do they put them in like a jar, or are you talking about like, are they like are they like, you know? You know what I struggle with is finding motivation to learn on my own with how tired life has me. Yeah. So Bugga, I'm gonna give you some advice that you're gonna probably feel like is pretty counterintuitive. If you are struggling to get motivation because of how tired you are, I recommend exercising. And the reason is because you want to push your stamina up to where you can handle more than your daily grind. So if you have the stamina to exercise because you've been going for a run twice a week, then, you know, doing your daily routine is going to not be as taxing. So as much as that feels probably like the worst thing, any manner of exercise that you can find to do, like if you can't take walks, then do some dips in your chair and work your biceps, like, or those are your triceps. Do some wall push-ups, or do some wall sits, or go for a walk, like, you know. Ooh, Kitty says, oh, is this on your land? You have grapes, raspberries, blueberries, huckleberries, strawberries, kiwis, plums, cherries, Granny Smith apples. Oh my god, that's crazy. That is really interesting, but yes, difficult to start. I've been trying to get up between work more recently. Yeah, you know, just standing and walking around a little bit each day, and, you know, building up and being willing to say, like, okay, I'm going to do 5 wall push-ups, and that's all I'm going to commit to doing, you know, just like getting started. For me, I don't need physical books. I have literally 100K books in one 8 terabyte HDD, and I can read it on my tablet with my solar rechargeable battery. I mean, Violet, like, yes, it's good to have copies. Like, it's good to have redundancies. You could have, like, the hard drive and, like, maybe 2 extra hard drives with all the same info on it. Or maybe if you have like 3 of those tablets, then, you know, you could maybe feel assured. And I would still say I'm going to have a physical copy of my book on top of that, because, I mean, what happens if, completely outside of your control, someone knocks into your tablet and knocks it on the floor? Like your cat knocks it on the floor and it breaks, or what have you, you know? The CGP Grey, like, approach is, you know, you only have... like, if you only have 1 laptop, then functionally you have 0 laptop, because if something happens to your laptop, then you have 0 laptop. So in order to have 1 laptop, you actually have to have 2. Exercise and water. Everyone says it and it sounds cliche, but drinking more water really does help from personal experience. The exercise is good advice too. Even just a 3-kilogram weight while watching TV. Yeah. And yeah, like drinking water, obviously. Drinking less alcohol. If you're drinking alcohol, I would recommend, you know, pulling back on it a bit, because it's so hard to stay hydrated. Yeah, I just don't want to be reliant on the tech per se. And you know, I'm going to say I like having books. Like, I'm not going to argue that it's more space efficient to have a book than it is to have a tablet, but I like having books. I feel less worried about a book getting destroyed. Granted, I would admit that I'm super biased from my own interests, but I have my grandma's book of needlework that I always refer back to. It's literally called The Big Book of Needlecraft. And I will talk to my brother for his recommendation on practical engineering, because he's an engineer, and I have a friend who's learning farming, and I'll talk to her for recommendations. Yes. What if we use copiers? Sure. I mean, yeah, if you want to just make copies. Books are infinitely easier to repair than any electronic device in the apocalypse. Just keep it away from water, fire, and direct sunshine. Yeah. And I do love the smell of paperbacks. Yup. Yeah, I have to concede, you know, it's more efficient to have an electronic device, but you can't guarantee that you're always going to have that electronic device. You know, frankly, the solar panels that you're relying on to charge your stuff, they are very fragile. and they will break. Or like the whatever device it is in between the solar panel that's like taking the solar panel power and converting it into whatever you need. Like your charger itself is going to break and fail at some point. Also, books can be written on with your own notes, comments, and corrections as you use the skills in them. Like, highlight stuff in the books. Solar panels are a bad option for the apocalypse. Right. Like, you know, they're very fragile. They are not, you know, necessarily made to last very long. They're not going to often be mutually compatible because so many different companies make them, and there just aren't as many standardizations. Like, when you get other electrical components, they tend to be highly standardized because, you know, they need to be mutually compatible to an extent. And it's kind of like the issue with the phone chargers, where the phone chargers are not mutually compatible between brands, even within one brand. So you're also going to run into an issue where even if you could get a hold of another solar panel to replace the one that broke, like, how are you going to make sure that it's mutually compatible with your stuff? Like, do you know how to solder? Do you know how to do repairs on an individual, like, solar panel? The Mennonites and Amish are very helpful resources to tell you how to build things and survive without modern tech. I find that the Mennonites are the nicest and easiest to approach. Are there many of them living in, like, Washington or Oregon? Are there Mennonites up there? Where do the Mennonites live? It's just occurred to me that I have absolutely no idea where those people are. Like, the ones who I see in Kansas, are those Amish or are those Mennonites? Am I seeing Mennonites when I see people in the Midwest who look like they're weird? I, like, used to work at a gas station, and people would come in, and I'd be like, why are you using a debit card? Like, I didn't understand. I didn't ask, to be clear. That was me. My internal dialogue was like, why are you paying with a debit card? And, like, driving a car and stuff. Also, keep the instructions of your tech. Those are the best starting point to understanding basic repair and troubleshooting. I always keep those little booklets, you know. I have a drawer in my kitchen. It's got other stuff in it. I mean, primarily it's my jar drawer, but within the jar drawer is paperwork for, like, the Roomba and, like, other stuff. If they drive modern cars, then they're probably Mennonites. Interesting. Interesting. You should watch some videos explaining the two. People are not as into this conversation as they were earlier. Catch me in the apocalypse reading an old dusty tome, smoking a pipe, huddled up with some, oh no, you deleted the comment. No, why? All branches of the Amish are going to be different from each other. Fair enough. Some are super culty and abusive. The Amish also make some pretty good candy. That makes perfect sense to me, that the Amish would be really good at making candy, because making candy is fucking time-consuming. It's so time-consuming. So I can imagine, you know, if your culture is really focused around taking things slow, doing things the natural way, doing things the hard way, then that makes sense. Like, you're really slowly cooking the candy. Anyway, if you're just coming in, thanks for coming in. We've been having a long conversation about sustainability and how to survive in the impending climate apocalypse, but we will probably start talking about the title issue soon, because I probably should talk about it at some point. National trans sports ban. They're moving forward with it. They're moving forward. Is this the right? Nope, this is not the right article. It's this article. I have the article open and everything. Look at this, Republican congressman. You tried to learn what twitchy witch? Like tech repair? And you decided that sewing was easier? Man, like, my sewing machine runs on electricity. You know what I mean? Like, do I need to get a retro sewing machine that literally has a foot pump? Man, I forgot that I need to, like, really... I would love to learn how to sew. Oh, candy making, yes. I tried to learn it and decided that sewing was easier. And sewing is not easy. Ooh, yes, catch me in the apocalypse, reading a dusty old tome by lantern light, smoking a pipe while huddled up in the crumbling remains of a Barnes & Noble surrounded by 70% off price tags. True! Okay. Oh, my hat is getting twisted around a lot. Why? It's because it's a little bit itchy. Like, my hair is getting smushed onto my forehead, and it's just a little bit itchy. I need to wash this one, I think. I'll go ahead and wash it soon. Because it just came in, and it just needs a little bit of a wash. Most basic electrical systems are super easy to understand. Hardest thing is creating insulators for the wires if you can't find unused Romex. Yeah, that's the thing about, like, no more plastics manufacturing is how do you safely insulate your wires? You know, I honestly don't think... It sort of depends on when your house was built, right? If I were to buy a house... I mean... Yeah, it depends on how long ago the house was built. Because if the house was built in, like, the 60s, then it was using Romex with, like, that weird cloth shit on the outside, and no-go. Like, I would have the house rewired, I think. Like, I think I would have to rewire my house. Rubber latex, natural rubber latex is plant-based. Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, it's like tough. There's a lot of really intense engineering that goes into how thick is the wire versus how thick is the insulation. Like, how are you going to keep things relatively safe? And, like, the answer is, if you have a large enough wire, you can probably do, like, a lot of shit. Like, if what you have is a bunch of really thick wire, you can wire your whole house that way if you're not worried about the fact that that's kind of a waste of copper. But, and then that way, if you have a really big wire, then you probably won't have the same kind of issues with fire safety, you know? Virginia is a purple state, and the local Mennonites I know are fairly liberal. They know that I'm gay, etc., and they don't care. We've no trouble doing business. They do own several stores, and they're very helpful. They've helped me with prepping for sure. I guess Mennonites are good people to know. Hey, hit the like button if you haven't already hit the like button. I haven't really been asking that much this stream because I've been so interested in I've just been so invested and interested in our conversation, but you should hit the like button, okay? And maybe even, like, the subscribe, and, like, are you gonna do a dono, maybe? I don't know, donos are good. Did someone just share something with me? I'm just trying to stream and my Discord went off. We role-played the end of the world with 4,000 other people. Okay, I'll have to check that out later. Thank you for sharing. Knife sharpening is important for keeping up your tools. Also carry a pocket knife, even a tiny one. I've realized that I don't have a nice pocket knife, and I really should get one. And, like, I also need to learn how to sharpen knives. Because, I mean, also all my kitchen knives, they're decent stainless steel knives, and I want to know how to sharpen them. Not all Mennonites are good. There's been a lot of interviews with people who have escaped Mennonite cults, just like the Amish. Some are good and some are evil. Okay, fair enough. It's like, depends on the local chapter. Don't get a pocket knife, get a multi-tool. Aha, joke's on you. A knife is a multi-tool. I've always carried a pocket knife since I was 12. I have carried a pocket knife in the past. They just haven't been very high quality pocket knives. And it's like, I'm married into a family that really highly prizes having at least one knife on your person at all times. Like, you know, a multi-tool is way more space effective. Yeah, a multi-tool is also, like, a shittier version of all the different tools that it is. So yeah, if you want, like, a shitty knife, then yeah, carry a multi-tool. Always have a good pocket knife in case of a 127-hour situation. 127 hours, what is that? This hat is really warm. I might have to take a break, because it's... Listen, this is a very effective winter hat. That sounds like you just had a shitty multi-tool. I mean, maybe. But again, I'll admit that I like the idea of carrying a good, solid, decent quality pocket knife and maintaining it and caring for it. Oh man, my hair is so flat today. 127 Hours is a movie about an IRL guy. Oh yeah, who got his arm trapped by a boulder and had to cut it off, and all he really had was a shitty blunt multi-tool knife because he couldn't find his good knife. Oh no. Yeah, I didn't know that he had to cut it off with like a bad multi-tool knife. That's pretty horrendous. Oh my gosh. I'm almost done watching the H-bomb video. Finally, in case any of you are still wondering, I am almost done watching it. I still have 50 minutes left of the video to watch. Hair. Such a pain in the ass. I've successfully learned how to French braid. That's another one of those random skills that you don't really necessarily think of. Like how to care for your hair in a survival situation. Like not just cutting it, but like making sure it's clean and healthy, because obviously you can get germs and like pests in your hair. And one of the ways, and like also it will save you water if you don't have to wash your hair as often. So if you can do protective styling or like protect your hair, then you are less frequently going to need to wash it, which could save you water. When H-Bomber Guy showed those 10 pages of fully highlighted plagiarism, it was like a nuke going off on Somerton's career. I saw someone making the criticism that that his video was kind of redundant, that it ended up being more dunking on these individual plagiarists rather than dunking on plagiarism. And like this person felt that he didn't spend enough time talking about how YouTube itself incentivizes plagiarism. And I felt like, you know, one of the most salient criticisms that H-Bomber Guy has had, and like given that I have not finished watching the video, is like how like YouTube does incentivize this system to a degree. But also like the audience has a tendency to reinforce this. Like, excuse me, like the audiences themselves will rally around these creators and be duped and like go harass the people who are pointing out the plagiarism and things like this. So yeah, I thought that was just a more salient criticism. But I do, you know, I think that part of what H-Bomber Guy was doing was showing how egregious a violation these people were committing. Like, yes, it ended up dunking on several specific plagiarists. I think it was, yeah, I think part of his goal was to show, like, here's how insidious this is. These people have been doing this for years, and it's hard not to notice if you're not the kind of person who's literally double checking. Like, I don't think I ever watched any James Somerton or Illuminati videos, but I knew about them. I've seen James Somerton tweet before. Cotton caps. Cotton caps were worn for hair cleanliness and protection for centuries. You can find medieval coif patterns everywhere, and they wick away oils and sweat efficiently. Yeah, and so you would like braid your hair underneath and then put some kind of cap or hat on. Have you heard Todd in the Shadows video about Somerton's made-up facts? No, I didn't watch that one. I did see it cross the timeline earlier. It was not misinformation. It was just made up out of whole cloth facts / history. It's ridiculous, and it not implements, it implicates is what you meant to type. It implicates Nick in the plagiarism that Somerton was doing, and Nick is the co-writer, I believe. Yeah, no, I haven't. I will continue. I know that other people have been talking about Somerton and putting out content. I had no clue who James Somerton was before the H-Bomber Guy video, so I don't super duper care. You know, I wasn't super deeply familiar with him before. I just knew who he was generally. The one thing that I that comes to my attention about the whole situation, and it's something that I don't think H Bomber Guy talked about in his video at all, but it's the fact that Summerton would talk about how, you know, oh, we had our lowest Patreon turnout this month in a long time, and we might have to stop making videos if we don't get new patrons right now. And he got like 1,200 new patrons in a month's time. And I'm like, oh, so this is how you become successful as a streamer. So do I just need to more frequently as a creator, like, talk about how beleaguered I am and how I need more money and like how I'm not going to be able to make content anymore? Like, I'm gonna have to quit and go back to working a full-time job at a place that I hate and is gonna exploit me and make me get COVID over and over again. So, you know, make sure that you know, if you want me to not die from COVID-related complications, go sign up on my Patreon. Like, is that the game that we play now? Nah, you just need to talk about the bees and the trans farm commune. Listen, I've not gotten any donations today, so apparently talking about the bees and the trans farm commune is not how to make money, as a matter of fact. I did watch James Summerton's videos. I started raising eyebrows when he was constantly posting those videos. Oh, you mean like when he would take a video down and then repost it and then take a video down and repost it, like, over and over again? I wonder what that does to the metrics on your channel. I wonder how, like, are you gonna make the same amount of money every time you post a video? Because, like, the thing about YouTube that's kind of stupid is that your content doesn't really, I mean, my content at least, doesn't usually last longer than a day or two before it drops off and people stop clicking as much. So it's like, I wonder how much more money I would make if every couple of weeks I just deleted some of my videos and then re-uploaded them with minor changes, you know, and like a new title and thumbnail. Because that's another one of the things that James was doing that I'm sure he was making money doing. And all the people who are like, oh, I wonder what he changed in this video. Annie Hoozle. Well, I suppose we should actually talk about serious news today and not just the commune that I want to form. Shall we? Shall we actually talk about the serious stuff at some point today? Oh man, I'm gonna drink some water. Super serial news. Okay. Super serial. Jiminy Christmas. I've just been talking for a solid 2 hours. That's my job, is to talk. It's amazing. Okay, so some of the general, like, some of the topics today that I had in mind, you know, we have a story about Canada being transphobic. Listen, I think that maybe I just want to do, since that segment already, I'm probably going to go ahead and edit that and put it up. I'll do my one main story tonight, and then we'll probably switch to, like, gaming for the last part. Quick, someone pay for the silence because I want to keep talking medieval techniques for the modern commune farm life. Listen, do you want, yeah, if you want me to not talk about the congressional hearing, what is this? Their congressional hearing, oh my God, please. So the House Government Oversight Committee held a hearing on Biden's Title IX guidance. And so that's a whole fucking article that we're going to read. And I think there's videos involved. Yeah, there's videos. There's a whole thing. People saying heinous shit about trans people, etc., okay? If you want me to not talk about that, then feel free to donate $69. Super chats are back on, y'all. What's your pronouns? So maybe it's not super visible, but there's this, like, little card thing in the bottom that says my name and my pronouns. My hand, yeah, it's right there. Right there it says it's, but you can use they, them pronouns if you don't like it's that much. Please talk about it. Okay, Avi says please talk about it. It's super hard to see now. I mean, there's not like a good way to make it more visible. Let me put my shirt behind it. Is that better? A little bit? No. Black shirt? Yeah. Black dress with the tights underneath. Yeah, when the background is dark, it's fine. I need to give it like maybe a different color outer glow so that it will be more visible. I don't know, but it's on there for convenience purposes. My hair is so smooth after I conditioned it. A drop shadow. I did do a drop shadow initially. It just didn't quite work the way that I was expecting it to. Ooh. Now people are talking about plastics. Grr. Stretch. Stretching is important. I haven't been doing very much stretching lately, and that's bad because I'm getting old and I need to be doing stretching. The feminine plastique. Yeah, like natural plastics as opposed to oil-based plastics. It's the feminine plastique. Because the masculine ones are the oil-based ones. If Ferngully told me anything, it's that oil is masculine. If you don't understand that reference, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Ferngully. And this guy was voiced by Tim Curry. He was a bad guy. He was an oily bad guy. Oily bad guy sounds like a very different thing. So long since I watched that. I know, I literally have not seen Ferngully in like 20 years. I am not exaggerating. Literally, like 20 years. I need to watch it again. I'm the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I'll break your fucking knees, or whatever. When they said pollution, but make it gay. True. True. Girl. Anyway. Okay, I don't need this drought thing open. I don't need that open. Oh, man. I don't even need to do a segment about this right now, but I just want you to know that people are claiming that trans women have an advantage at darts. Trans women have a biological advantage at darts. Okay. Always great to know. Man, I kind of do want to respond. I guess I don't really need to, but like Ashton Daniel posted this video called "If You're a Trans Man, Why Do You Look Like That?" And I don't know what the thumbnail is right this second, but it's basically about like being a feminine trans man. And I thought that was an interesting thing that I might respond to, but I wasn't sure. UK government has a blacklist of countries that let people transition, quote, too easily. I'm trying to understand what this is all about. You get really good at throwing sharp objects when society starts treating you like a woman for some reason. No, they have an advantage over cisgender women. They have an advantage over cisgender women. So it's like, is it the fact that you know what it's like to not be treated like shit? And then you become rageful? My country never ceases to disappoint. Delightful. I'm trying to understand what the fuck this blacklist means. Oh, okay, yeah, so we'll do a little segment about this. The UK continues to be one of the worst places on the planet, by the way. The UK government has just recently created a blacklist of countries that let trans people transition too easily, basically. You know, so you know how the UK has these insane standards where they require you to wait for like 10 billion fucking years on the wait list before they'll let you have treatment, and they ask you invasive questions about your sex life and these things in order to determine if you are really trans. And of course, it's a bunch of cisgender people who invented those questions and came up with what qualifies as really trans, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you live somewhere else and you were to move to the UK, then there is no guarantee that just because you're already on the care, that a doctor in the UK would continue your care. Like, you know, if you have a prescription for insulin in America and then you go to the NHS in the UK, you would go ahead and go like, yeah, please just give me some insulin because I already have a diagnosis for my diabetes. And maybe even for your depression, if you're taking antidepressants and you go to the UK and you're going to stay there for a year or two, and so you need a prescription, you could be like, hey, I'm already on this prescription antidepressant, you know, can you prescribe me some of this? And they might do that. But if you're trans and you go to the UK, if you are from certain countries, the UK has decided that those countries are like letting people transition too easily. Too easily are they letting you transition. So there's a blacklist of more than 50 countries claiming that it's letting people transition too easily in an attack on queer migrants. Amazing. British trans people going to be looking at that list for vacation spots. True. It's a special kind of evil, right? Like, why? Why? You're going to prevent people from having bridging prescriptions, essentially. Oh, goodness gracious. Here. In November, former Home Secretary Suella Braverman was sacked following a series of controversial comments and actions, including claiming that queer migrants were fleeing their home countries out of fear of discrimination rather than actual persecution. I don't understand what's wrong with that. Like, oh, I live in a country where it's like legal to fire me or like not rent me a house. Like, oh, that's not actual persecution? Like, sure, okay, whatever. It's not good enough for Suella Braverman. Excuse me. So the countries that have allegedly been blacklisted by UK government now include Belgium and New Zealand, with the latter enabling people to self-declare their own gender identity without the need for a medical diagnosis of gender dysphoria. So basically, if you live in a place that doesn't have a rigorous process for medical gatekeeping to determine that you are actually gender dysphoric and you deserve the medicine, then the UK will simply not honor your prescription if you were to move there or live there temporarily. So, certain U.S. states have also been blacklisted. U.S. states such as California, New Jersey, and Maine have also reportedly been placed on the Tory government's so-called blacklist. So if you are from California and you have a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, I guess if you have a diagnosis of gender dysphoria from the state of California, New Jersey, or Maine, in addition to these countries, they're just like, nope. If you got diagnosed with gender dysphoria in California and you go to the UK, nope, they're just not going to do it. Nope, you don't get you got to put yourself on the wait list and wait 17 years like everybody else has to. When will all this crap end? I guess never. They call it Turf Island for a reason, and given that the government is increasingly conservative the last 4 or 5 years, the American government and the UK government have both been trending toward the right, and yeah, like, I guess it's going to successfully cut down. I don't know any trans people who want to move to the UK anyway, but it's going to cut down on any trans people moving there. Yeah, the reform means that citizens from those blacklisted countries will be forced to comply with complicated British rules if they move to the UK and get gender recognition certificates. The gender recognition certificates obtained may not be recognized in this country. So if you change your sex in your home country, they might not recognize that necessarily in the UK, apparently. I don't really know how that would work. Lots of countries are out of kilter with the UK now, so this is about redressing the balance and making sure that if someone has a gender recognition certificate, they've gone through the same process as everyone else. So I think, like, in Ireland, they recently made it much easier to get a gender certificate, like a gender recognition certificate, which means that you can have your legal sex changed on certain documents. Like, you can already have a passport that accurately represents your gender identity, but stuff like your birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate will not be able to be changed unless you have a gender recognition certificate, which requires you to have gone through medical stuff and lived as your gender for a certain amount of time and getting approval from like a literal panel of cis people who don't fucking know you at all. Excuse me. Yeah, arrogance on the part of the UK. Doctors from other countries are not as good. I mean, yes, the assumption that the UK way of doing things, i.e. putting you on a wait list so long that you will just kill yourself or have no choice but to go for a private plan, like a private healthcare off the NHS. Like, there's just functionally less and less recognition and access for trans people. And if you're from a country that has easier access, who have decided not to be like violently transphobic about it, then yeah, it's like, you better stay there, I guess. Don't come to the UK. A friend of mine is having to go through this system, despite having lived in the UK for a decade. Truly dystopian. It's insane. And keep in mind, y'all, that it's not doctors who are making this decision. It's not like the doctors in the UK are making this decision, per se. This is a bureaucratic nonsense. I mean, obviously, like, yes, a lot of individual doctors are transphobic, like the one who initially declined to send Abigail's referral. And so Abigail waited for 4 months for a referral that never came because the doctor just fucking didn't send the referral. I've seen dystopias better than what we're getting. Jesus, yeah, it's not like a good option right now. Excuse me. Oh, gunk in my throat. Whoops. And of course, this reform is following former Prime Minister Liz Truss vowing to introduce a law that will ban trans women from single-sex spaces and prevent under-18s from transitioning at all. Theresa May's Conservative government promised to introduce self-declaration in 2018, but those plans were quickly dropped under the Boris administration. Scottish government passed its own reforms, and the UK government announced plans to block them. I forgot. Yeah, how has that gone? I don't know if they've actually succeeded at doing that. Yeah, members of the Conservative Party have said that the party intends to fight the next election on trans debate and culture wars, despite research showing that it's just 1% of voters saying that trans rights will determine their vote in the general election. They're doing the same thing in the UK that they're doing over here, which is focusing in super hard on the trans issue. The Conservatives, Republicans, Tories, all the same BS. They're doing this thing. And if how it went down in America is anything to judge by, they have been losing and losing and losing these elections where they make trans people their central wedge issue. Like, they're just not doing very well in those particular elections. So as much as they want to push this, most people don't care about it at all. Like, you know, it's not like they hate trans people or they love trans people. They just don't care, and they don't think that that's a very important issue compared to the fact that they need to get food on the table. Like, the voters care about the issues that are relevant to their lives. How are you going to protect my kid from a school shooter? How are you going to provide me with health care? Like, how are you going to be using my taxes? Are you going to repair the road are you going to repair the road that I live on? Like, those are the things that voters care about. And Republicans and Tories both are increasingly out of touch as they continue focusing on these culture war issues and completely ignoring the climate and the infrastructure and those things that actual human beings need them to take care of. It's like, you're the government. That's your whole thing. It's the thing that you're supposed to do, is make sure that we have the things that we need in order for the economy to be functional. And if y'all are not doing that, like, I don't know what you want from me. Certainly not my vote. Like, clearly. Almost as if that ignorance is intended / by design. Right. Why do government when you can do transphobia instead? That's the question that the Tories and the Conservatives ask themselves every day. Every day they wake up and they ask, why would you do government when you can do transphobia? And genocide against Palestinians also. Everybody seems to be on the same page about that. Yeah. That was a fun little segment. I need to take some notes for today's stream so that I remember to edit this later. Welcome in. If you just come in, hit the like button, please. We're here chatting about Republicans and all kinds of nonsense. Okay, what is today? 12. What is today? 6? 23? We had surviving the future conversation, and then we did UK blacklist. Even Texas is blacklisted. Oh man, that's funny. That was unexpected. I would have understood. And I wonder if Kansas is blacklisted, because Kansas has, like, no specific restriction on your legal access. Yeah, because we have informed consent here. That's so funny. Okay, I need to copy this link. Where's the link? Give it to me now. Nope, this is the wrong link. It's this one. What's up, drums? Kansas is not blacklisted? Why? I mean, we have informed consent here. Maybe it's because Austin is so gay. True. I mean, maybe they just assume that nobody from Kansas can afford to travel, or, like, I don't know. When you're in another country, I think that people in other countries only really think about, like, 4 U.S. states. You know, California? You know, have you ever seen, like, a non-U.S. citizen try to fill out a map of the states? They know Texas. They know California. They usually know, like, New York. They might not know which one is New York, but they know where-ish on the map it is. And they might know Florida. But kind of like literally any other U.S. state, like, I think the average world citizen doesn't have any idea. Yeah, the UK thinks that Texas is too trans-positive. You know, you can't do it. New York, California, Texas, and Florida due to Florida Man. Well, and it's there. It's the little foot. It's our little foot hanging off. Those are the only ones that people know. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. I made cottage pie last night, and I ate some leftovers earlier, and so that's what that burp tasted like. It tasted like beef and gnocchi. Florida is blacklisted. Oh, God. Like I said, they only know the names of, like, 5 states. Yeah, those are the only ones. Goodness gracious. $42. Florida Man is a good reason to block them in general. True. Yeah, just, you know, you're not allowed to come here. Delicious. One of those square states, too? Which one? Do they have a whole big long list? It's fair, though. How many Americans can point to more than 5 European countries on a map? First of all, most of our states are bigger than those countries, okay? I'm just gonna have to say, most of them are bigger. But I could point out the UK, Germany, France, Spain, and Portugal, and that's like... And then there's Italy and Greece. You know, like, that's 7. How many provinces can you name? That's a good point. You've got Quebec and Vancouver? No, Vancouver's a city. Nope, it's in the province of... Yeah, shit. I don't care about you people. Oh, man. Otomophobia. I don't know what phobia that is, but it sounds exciting. You have to admit that, like, as far as the world stage go, America is a bit more influential than Canada. Canada is blacklisted. Of course Canada is blacklisted. Oh, it's a word I made up. Nice. All of Canada is blacklisted. Goodness gracious. Are we having a fun day so far? I feel like I'm having a fun day so far. Yes. Here, I'm just gonna... It's like, what are some different things I can do with this hat? Not very many. He was a skater boy. She said, see you later, boy. I think my hat looks better when I have my hair down. Never been prouder to be a Canadian. A beanie is just a sock for your head. It's a real warm sock. Anyway. We should actually talk about the title issue. We should actually get into it. Let's just jump into it. I like the beanie. I am looking forward to the new tweak on the design that I'm going to do, though. Like, I think adding that green splash is going to be really fucking sweet. A beanie is a sock for your head, and that begs the question of what is the shoe for your head? Listen, get out of here, June. I knew that you were trying to infiltrate this chat. Come on, June. Get out of here. Shoe. Shoe. Go on. Ugh. June is the name of shoe on head. That's her name. Her name is June. The shoe is a helmet. A helmet, yes. You said shoe on your head, so I thought of shoe on head, you know? Get out of here. You've infiltrated a helmet. True, the helmet is the shoe of the head. Oh my god. I'm gonna need my headphones for this next part. I might need more water for this next part, too. No yoon, please? Are you asking me not to yawn? I'm sorry, it's infectious. Too bad. Yeah, I don't necessarily like how I look with a beanie and no hair. I changed my name and had phalloplasty done to pretend to be a trans woman who posts nudes just so that you trust me. You're operating under the assumption that I've seen any of your nudes. You know, the Blue Sky does one good thing, and that is, like, the suggestive content filter is actually pretty decent. You have to actually, like, click in if you want to see. Yukon and Labrador? Are we naming peninsulas now? Oh, no June. Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Yeah, no June. No, we don't really like Shu on my show. She does way too much, oh, what's the word for it? I can't remember what the word for it is. She scaremongers about innocent shit. It's really stupid. Is the Labrador Peninsula like a fake place from BoJack Horseman that's just lodged in my brain as though it's a real location? Excuse me. Sorry. The burpiness is real. Okay. Gross. Oh my god. It's like, should I read the Twitter thread or do I need to read her article? Which one is going to be better? There's more videos, I think, in her Twitter thread. There's 2 videos in that article. That's a video that's not in her article. It's a 5-minute video. Okay, there's like different content on her Twitter thread than on her article. I always assumed that the Labrador Peninsula was a fake place until you mentioned it, and now I am not sure. Oh boy, yeah, I think I might need to get more water before I start this next segment here. Might take a little walk around and, like, get my energy back. I really enjoy the hour-long conversation about the commune. That's pretty great. It's like, I enjoy that convo. It's a fun time. Beautiful. Well, the Labrador Peninsula is real, and I learned it was real because I was trying to understand where the stone gets its name from. It's a real place. Oh, okay. The dog is also named after the place. Oh, Labradorite, the stone? Interesting. Okay, I'll pull up a Hassan video to keep you entertained, okay? I thought it was really funny that H-Bomber Guy had a Hassan gag in his video. That was amusing. Oh, this is a really old video. That's fine, that's fine. We'll watch it anyway. You'll watch it for a few minutes anyway. Halftime on Luxstream, that's true. Just about. Okay, Labrador Peninsula is a real place. Where is it? Where is the Labrador Peninsula? Oh, it is in Newfoundland. Okay. It is also known as the Quebec-Labrador Peninsula. It's a large peninsula in eastern Canada. Peninsula. Splendid. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna run and get myself some more water, take a little break, rest my voice. And then we'll get back into talking about the title issue. We'll talk about the title issue. And then once we finish the title issue, I don't know if we might talk about other news, or we might just switch to playing Cats Are Liquid for a little while until I decide that I don't want to do that anymore. Can we get to 69 likes? That's the next question. I doubt at this point that we're going to get to the $69 dono goal, but we can get to 69 likes at the very minimum. We can do it. I believe in you. It's all up to you. I can't hit like on the stream. I don't have that power. I'm completely powerless in the question of how many likes are on the stream. There's nothing I can do. Okay, let me give you Hassan, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay? Okay.
Let's start off with something that I've been meaning to talk about that I would have definitely talked about a lot yesterday, and that is pronouns, okay? Now, trigger warning to everybody. Obviously, I will be using pronouns when I speak because language requires the usage of pronouns. Trying to not use pronouns when speaking, difficulty not using pronouns when speaking. Pronouns are, of course, a fundamental part of the American language. It's a grammar thing, you know, we use it, okay? But, of course, people, I guess, in the UK, this guy specifically doesn't understand that. But it's not just the people in the UK. This is probably one of the greatest videos I've ever seen. It's so fucking funny from start to finish. We got to get into this. This is some weird British Gamergate guy, and he is just losing his mind over selecting pronouns in Starfield. And I said it's the perfect demonstration as to why we must bring back lobotomies. That got a hit, you know, kind of banged on Twitter, 7.9 million views, and it got the dumbest people incredibly angry. Like, I don't know how this went above and beyond. Like, it got the absolute stupidest motherfuckers on the planet, like, geared up. They put the fucking pitchforks out. They were like, how dare you? I agree with them. Okay, let's take a look.
Just want to say something to you, Bethesda. Just want to say a little something. There is nothing I love more. Taking my headphones off. Fuck that. Bethesda, there is...
Uh-oh. Boys, the headphones are off, yeah? The fucking headphones are off, yeah? You know it's about to be pound time. It's about to fucking lay it thick, lad. In the Bethesda.
Nothing I love more than to sit down, comfy chair, turn on my PC, fire up a brand new RPG.
He loves firing it up,
think,
mate.
oh my God, just think of this world. Just think of all the planets I can visit. All the immersive things that I can get involved with, all the fights, all the relationships.
Okay, first of all, my boy, as someone who has like put in, what, 10 hours now to Starfield, let me tell you, probably not the best game to try and do that with. Just saying, okay? But not for the reasons that he's upset at. But that's beyond the point. Starfield, not exactly the best game to try and like immerse yourself in like that, right? Fucking hell. It's like if you put his head upside down, it's the same shape. Oh, yes, that's a statue of himself behind him. It's a fucking figurine, mate. Sorry, also, if you're this invested in Gundams and mecha shit, you can't be this much of a goon, okay? You can't be this much of a right-wing idiot. You missed the plot point of, like, every Gundam story, okay? Anyway, let's continue, mate.
So I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us. Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns!
The way his like face moves, the way his mouth gets when he's saying fucking pronouns. This guy is a ledge, okay? 10 out of 10 rant. Absolute fucking ledge, man. Fucking ledge. We haven't seen thumb levels outside of the copper dogs in such a long fucking time, mate. He's dousing the fucking camera with his spittle, talking about pronouns don't current fucking day us. He is so good. I love this man, okay? I fucking love this man. I want to just like grab him from his cheeks, his jowls, and be like, I love you. You have given me a gift. You have given the world a gift by reacting this way to something so stupid. Now, I'm sure most of you have already seen this video by now, but to the select few who still haven't, what he is talking about here, the current daying us, is just character customization options. That's it. It's literally a thing that has existed in pretty much every single RPG for like the past 15 years, I would say. It still absolutely exists in many other RPGs that he, I guess, didn't even notice. Opera GX had a really good one on this. Everyone has pronouns, dipshit. It came free with your fucking speaking a language. Like, this is incredible. He is legitimately upset at just language. He's mad at language. He's not mad at like the culture or anything like that. I know a lot of people that are just as dumb as he is are like trying to hail what he said as though it's like some brilliant analysis, some secret that he fucking landed on, and he's like brave enough to say it. But he is hysterical about just a fundamental part of language which doesn't even play a significant role in the fucking game whatsoever.
Fucking gender ambiguity!
Gender ambiguity!
Current day Californian shit! Because that's all we fucking know! Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring! We can't see past our own fucking reflection. That's the level of our narcissism.
This part I love because, like, is he talking about himself? Like, what's happening? No, he's talking about Bethesda!
Bethesda Western Game Company.
Yeah, Bethesda Western Game Company. The West is fallen. The West is fucking fallen, mate.
Fuck your immersion. Fuck you having a good time. Fuck you falling into a world and just getting lost. No, no, no! Current fucking day! Fuck off!
I'm not kidding.
Okay, I'm back. Hello. I've returned. No more, Hassan. No more. No more. No, 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 no. I'll keep you in the pocket in case I need another break later. Anyhoozle. Hi. Oh, God. Definitely hate on UK Day, and I'm fucking here for it. Listen, it's so easy to hate on the UK. Is it the end of the shit on the UK part of the stream? I think that at this point, I'm ready to shit on the United States again. People that keep getting mad about pronouns don't realize that's just a wedge issue for the real problem. Adjectives. They're going to be behind the fall of society, truly. There's nothing we can do. We're so close to 69 likes. Oh my god. Let's do it. And more importantly, let's do a seggy seg. Seggy seg seg seg. I'll do it off of the Twitter thing, I think, instead of her article. The dastardly nouns. They're causing problems, those nouns. We made it over 69 likes. Congratulations. We passed 69 instantly. You did it. You did it. Congratulations. High fives. Can we get one singular $5 dono this whole stream? I'll take one $5 dono for the whole stream, and I'll consider that, like, 4 hours well spent. Okay. I think we've talked about this previously, that the national sports ban, like, they are going to make moves to try to make trans women's participation in sports illegal throughout the country, basically. Obviously, we've seen these laws passing in individual states. We've been talking about this for over a year now. Clearly, like, just get this couple of things out of the way. Like, we've looked into it, and the research shows that the main disparity between male and female athletes is how much funding those sports get. So if you were to provide the same facilities and coaches and stuff for women as you do men, then women are actually fully capable of competing against men. Generally speaking, there is a slight strength advantage for males and a slight stamina advantage for females. So in races like marathons, like endurance sports, women tend to actually do much better than men. So yeah, like it's been shown that like women's leagues were mostly created as a way to ensure that men did not feel challenged. Like they wanted to preserve men's ability to win. So like, why is it that there is a different league for figure skating or for shooting? Like why are shooting gun as a sport? Why is that one segregated? Well, it's because initially there weren't any rules against women joining, but women didn't join generally. And then when women started to join, they would win. And then they would be like, oh no, women aren't allowed. And then they would set up a separate women's league. Like that's why you have women's sports, y'all. It's literally male supremacy. You've been brainwashed into accepting the idea that you're inherently biologically inferior. When you account for weight and height, like honestly, humans are barely sexually dimorphic. It's not that big of a deal. But these people really are invested in the idea that there are fundamental differences, that you can't fundamentally change your sex, that like these characteristics are immutable, or that you're playing with God by trying to change them, or like you're destroying something natural and beautiful by changing your body, whatever. And so, you know, this conversation has worked its way up to the national level where like basically Title IX, I think they're choosing to interpret Title IX as being like somewhat flexible. Like it doesn't apply to the sports thing, or like their way of protecting sex-based rights under Title IX is this idea that you shouldn't go like you shouldn't go on the opposite sex sports team, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Most of the sports differences come from differences in training styles and funding. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Avi. Like we've read into it on this show about how the main differences in performance between male and female athletes is entirely, you can predict it entirely based on like how well funded their sports programs are. But anyway, so yesterday as of this stream, I suppose I should clarify that, but there's been a hearing. Let's see. Where am I? Blah, 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 blah. Come back. I want to see. Where is it? Okay. At the House Government Oversight Committee, they've held a hearing referring to and referencing, oh my God, why can't I talk right now? It's because I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. Biden's Title IX guidance, which basically proposed changes to the Title IX regulations regarding student eligibility for athletic teams. And so this hearing is essentially trying to get public comment, like for the committee to hear public comment and question people. And we've watched these kind of hearings before. Beautiful. Let's see. All kinds of crazy nonsense was said during this. Apparently, it was like at times a fairly raucous occasion. I am reading to try to bring you the highlights. I think one of the weirdest things to have come out of this whole day is comments that were made by Representative Glenn Grothman. I do not know your name, my dude. I'm so sorry. But he stated that his reason for wanting there to be a trans sports ban is that, like, if people medically transition so that they can be on the sports team that they want to be on, then they will not be likely to switch back. Like, he's basically saying he wants to pass this national sports ban because that means that trans people would detransition, like that they would be less likely to be persistent with their medical care or something. I'm really not sure what the logic is behind that. Obviously, of course, he claimed that 80 to 90 of people detransition. Obviously, that's untrue. The real number is between 1 to 3%. Most of those retransition later, and the reason that they detransition is because of lack of social acceptance. Statistically, we've looked into it. Like, that's the case. Let's see. I want to see, is there video of this man? Video of the full exchange here. Hold on. So what his statement in full was, I sometimes wonder if we normalize the idea of guys playing in women's sports, are you kind of wondering if we're creating a system, which would be tragic if it's true, that some of these guys will never switch back? He further commented, I think it would have been too bad if they would have been, you know, one of the 80 or 90% who snap back, but because of this, they won't. This meaning, like, I assume, like, medically transitioning in order to be on the correct sports team. Like, again, like, I guess the assumption that medically transitioning means you won't ever detransition. Like, clearly, most trans people who start hormones stay on hormones because it makes an immensely positive change to their lives. So, again, there are reasons why there are so few medical detransitioners who really stick with it long term. It's the same way that some atheists will say that they're religious again because of social outcasting if they're atheist, right? Or like never coming out in the first place because they know, right, that they're not going to have social acceptance. Like, imagine being the pastor and like realizing that your faith is crumbling. You know, what are you going to do? Get in touch with the Recovering from Religion Foundation is what you should do because they can help. But anyway, unexpected plugs. Did you know that I used to be hardcore in the atheist community? I know a lot of people who work at those organizations. Correct, yes. Nothing having to do with them having faith or not. Everything to do with access to support systems. Also, this is more evidence that their goal is to have as few trans people as possible. Yeah, they've said it in a number of different ways at this point. They continue to say it. Like, their goal is for people to desist. Their goal is for as many people as possible to not commit to their transition and be integrated in society. Like, they just want there to not be trans people. They know this. Okay, so we can watch this little video. A video. Okay, I need my headphones. And a little sip of water. Sippy sip. Hardcore religiosity is part of why I'm not ready to share my new self with the rest of my family. Yeah, why is it that religion is like the number one thing most queer people have to worry about in terms of like reasons that our family is not accepting us? How, like, it's so high on the list. I think in America, at least, it might be the number one cause for familial relationship failure after someone attempts to come out as trans or queer. Cradle's hot cup of tea. Ooh, you know what, guys? I just want to take a little bit of a break, a little bit of a moment to say I bought on Amazon earlier today. I bought some star anise and some whole clove because I am going to make wassail in a couple weeks, in a week or two, in about a week. Probably. I'm probably not going to wait until Yule itself to make wassail. I might make it twice also over the course of the winter. But like, I don't know if you know what wassail is. It's like it's a European traditional hot beverage that you can make it in a bunch of different ways. Like you can literally, like, there are so many different ways to make it and it's still technically wassail. You can use mead or ale or apple cider or like fruit juice as the base. You can add sherry to it. You can use wine as the base. And oftentimes it's an alcoholic beverage. I'm probably going to make non-alcoholic wassail And then, sorry, I'm taking a little bit of a break to just talk about food for a second. I'll come back to the sports stuff in a second. Trust, I will come back to the sports stuff soon. You basically, you stick the clove or the anise into the apples. You roast the apples. You might, if you put oranges in there, you might roast the oranges as well. I can't remember. But you cut the oranges in half and you like put those in there. And sometimes some people will like whip up an egg and put some egg in there to give it some more body and like give it a nice foamy top. And yeah, like I'm gonna make mine non-alcoholic and then just put some bourbon in it, probably. Just some, if I want to add alcohol to it, I'll just put some bourbon in mine. But yeah, it's like you put the spices in there, you put the whole sticks of cinnamon in there, like and you boil it, not like boil it, you simmer it really, but you just put it on the stove and it just smells up your entire house. And then you are supposed to serve it in a bowl, like, and sometimes they would have sweet cakes floating in it, or maybe toast on the top of it as a sopping thing. No oranges for me. Cool, that you can use pineapple instead of oranges. Like a cross between a hot toddy and mulled wine, kind of. I don't remember how to make a hot toddy, but yeah, I would say Vossel is like a mulled wine, kind of. Yeah. But like it doesn't have to be wine. And if you make it with wine, it's still Vossel. If you put like the other stuff in it, because you can put more than one thing in it. You could put ale and cider, or like wine and mead or something, and then your spices and stuff on top of that. Apple cider makes the best Vossel, especially if it's been gradually boiled over time. That's the Vossel tradition in the Midlands because of our apple heritage. Where is the Midlands? But yes, I'm planning to make mine with an apple base, apple cider, non-alcoholic base, and just, you know, have that be a nice multi-hour project. I'm really looking forward to it. Just speaking, you said something about your hot cup of tea, and that just sent me on an entire side tangent about delicious spiced mulled beverages. I could have some hot chocolate too. I could have some hot chocolate after stream. I might consider doing that. Like a spiced sangria. I thought sangria was spiced. Oops. Midlands being the middle of England. Got it. Yeah. Lincoln, Nottingham, Derby, Yorkshire. Okay, cool. I would like to make a historic version of butterbeer, How to Drink's medieval recipe. Yeah, I am not going to use How to Drink's recipe for Vossel because I don't want to put egg in mine. That sounds gross. I'm good. Thank you. Oh, God. I wonder if lemons would work. You could probably use lemon. I think some recipes call for lemon. I wouldn't put a huge amount of lemon juice in there, but you could definitely, like, boil the lemon in there, and it would bring something to the table. Absolutely. Okay, let's get back to what we were doing before. We were going to watch this video. We're talking about this article. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so into my food stuff. I'm such a foodie. It's true. Like, I'm like, ooh, this interesting combination of flavors and all this nonsense. And ooh, I found out this shortcut I can use in the kitchen. Like, I am insufferable right now. I don't have anyone to talk to about it. So sorry, guys. You just get to hear all of my nonsense. I live in the town that originated the Bramley apple and have apple festivals every year. When are your apple festivals? What, like in August? Like, or September maybe? Lemons and limes are okay. It's just something about oranges that I'm seriously allergic to. Yeah, you could do like a little bit of lemon, maybe a little bit of pineapple instead of orange. They're in September. Okay, cool. Yes. I like apples a lot. I do think if, like, apples would be on my list of potential fruit trees that I would like to grow. Because they seem like they're pretty easy. Like they seem like they're not the most sensitive. Maybe, do I have the opposite impression of what I should? Is someone about to drop a truth bomb on me that apple trees are fickle as all get out? Fruits are delicious, y'all. Fruits are amazing. Okay, cheers. Okay, this is another side note, but did you guys see that is it the Farmer's Almanac that keeps the zones? Who keeps the zones? You know, the zones, it shows you, like, okay, in this part of the United States, you can grow these kind of plants. Like, these kind of plants grow well in this zone, and they updated the zones recently. Like, they shifted them because it's, like, hotter now. So wherever you live in the U.S., it's the USDA. Yeah, like, the zone has changed. So whatever, if you want to grow a garden, if you want to have stuff outside, knowing what to plant is going to be, like, you know, sort of dependent on the future U.S. Department of Agriculture, right? No, I don't watch Majority Report. I think that I just saw on Facebook that the USDA had updated that, and it was within the last couple of weeks that I saw that. That's the kind of shit that I look at and I think about. If you're in the right climate, apples do just kind of grow. If you want apples with no worms, that might be more effort. True. True enough. Then I have to figure out, okay, how do I present an ecosystem? What eats the worms before they can infect my apples? I would still use the older one because winters tend to be so inconsistent. Okay. Maybe I might, like, average the two or, like, reference the two at least. There's 3 competing Farmer's Almanac books each year. Apples are tough plants. You need wasps. Yes, I love wasps. That is not a joke. Like, they're the best. I like them a lot. They like to land on me and just chill, you know, and I don't have an adrenal response anymore to seeing wasps for the most part. So, I know. Listen, here's the thing. I'm gonna keep getting on side tangents because I'm tired of talking about this anti-trans shit. Like, I'm just kind of annoyed about it right now. I know I need to finish the segment, but listen, I'm enjoying my little talk about animals and plants. Birds get a beehive so that they pollinate the trees. Well, but, like, wasps that are trying to eat the things that are getting into my... What are the bugs in an apple? Like, what are the bugs that are... What do they... Because it's a worm, but that's not, like, their entire lifespan, right? What do they turn into? Anything that will encourage pollinators will encourage parasitic wasps. I hate fruit flies, dude. They're so fucking annoying. Farming chat for the win. True! Growing up, I just ate around the pests. Was not usually a big deal. And TBH, I rarely found legit worms. Wild apples just be ugly. Fair. Aphids? Oh god, yeah, aphids are the fucking worst. Just take a look before you bite. It's a skill issue. Anyway. Okay, let's watch this video of... Hold on. Where am I? No. Carry that knife. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna pick apples, you don't just chomp on the apple. You have to cut it open. Like, you cut your apple if you're picking wild apples. That's why I'm gonna carry my pocket knife. Appleworms are usually codling moths. Okay, so you get, like predatory wasps that like to eat the moths and introduce those to the environment. Aphids can be dealt with by ladybugs or mantises. Well, good thing I fucking love mantises. Those are cool. But, like, this is the thing about setting up, like, a long-term sustainable, like, homestead or farm situation is, like, you know, and doing it in a natural way that isn't going to use a bunch of pesticides is like, okay, well, there needs to be a functional ecosystem here. There need to be enough mantises to eat the aphids, but not so many mantises that their population becomes problematic. Like, you know, you have to establish and, like, utilizing existing structures of balance. Dish soap. Yeah, dish soap will kill aphids. Yes, if you take some dish soap and add it to water and put it in a spray bottle, and you can spray the aphids down. But I don't know if you want to waste your dish soap on that when we're in the apocalypse. A very simple old-timey trap for coddling moths are red balls and Vaseline. Acts like a sticky trap. Oh, they go toward red balls thinking that they're apples, and then it's just covered in Vaseline. That reminds me of, I saw someone who planted strawberries, and they knew that there were crows around who were going to probably eat their strawberries, so they took some rocks, painted the rocks red, and put them on the ground in their strawberry patch, and then the birds came down and, like, pecked the rocks, and they were fucking rocks, so it hurt, and they didn't come back and eat her strawberries when the strawberries came in. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay. This is an exchange between Miss Perry, who is, I believe, one of the guests. Sarah Perry is one of the witnesses, and that guy who we were just quoting. And here's that exchange where he says the things that we quoted him saying. The sorts of pests you get and how to fix them depends on your location, but even wormy apples make awesome apple cider, so it's not a total loss if they're hard to eat. Fair enough. You can still do other things with them. Worst case scenario, you can feed them to your cow or your horse or whatever. I would just use netting, but it would be very entertaining to watch the crow's brain break. Blech. Y'all, is it too early for wine? I don't know. You're in Central Time? It's 7 o'clock. You can start drinking wine. Don't overdo it. I mean, be good. Can always be fed to animals. Yeah. Just because you can't eat it doesn't mean it has to be waste. If you're just coming in, hit the like button. We're about to watch a video. All right, here we go.
From what I've read, the vast majority of people, 80 to 95%, who go what they call discordant gender identity, eventually come back to their original gender.
Hold on, he's not loud enough. Hold on.
From what I've read, the vast majority of people, 80 to 95%, who go what they call discordant gender identity, eventually come back to their original gender.
Not true.
And I sometimes wonder, as we normalize this idea of guys playing in women's sports, are you kind of creating a situation which would be tragic if it's true, that some of these guys are now never going to switch back because their whole social setting is praising them for switching? And I think it would be just kind of too bad if they would have been the 80 or 90.
So you can't celebrate trans lives. You can't celebrate trans people because then they might not detransition. He literally just said you have to impose social consequences on people so that they will want to detransition. Like, he's revealed the tactics. Sorry, my hat is all crooked again. Like, just genuinely coming out and straight up saying, yeah, wouldn't it be like these people won't want to switch back if they're being celebrated. So yeah, trans people can't win at anything. They can't be affirmed. You can't like validate them in any way because they might not detransition then. Just outright stating that that's the plot. That's the plan. If we're not mean to trans people, then it will be harder to torture them back into the closet. Exactly. It's so hard to torture them back into the closet. Also, why is every American politician 100 years old? Yes. Why are people who grew up in buildings with lead paint running the country? I think you have brainworms, sir. I think you have brainworms. Just like the apples in my orchard. He revealed, yeah, he took the mask off while also framing it as being supportive. Disgusting.
95% had snapped back, but because of this, they won't. Do you think that's a concern, Ms. Perry?
I think absolutely it's a concern. In fact, studies show that 75 to 90.
Press your microphone button, lady.
Your mic.
Through 75 to 90% of children, if allowed to progress through normal puberty, eventually make peace with their natal biological sex and avoid the trans dilemma altogether. We also know, based on studies, that social transitioning, including playing on a team specifically articulated by the Biden administration in its notice of proposed rulemaking, playing on the team that you want specifically for your gender identity, not based on sex, is an entree into ultimate medical transitioning. Now, with the rise...
Yeah, they're basically just saying if we allow... They're just saying if we allow people to join the teams, then they're going to medically transition because that's what we require for them to be on the teams. And if they medically transition, then they probably won't detransition. Therefore, we can't let them play on the teams. Like, that's such... It's so weird. Where's he getting this 90% stat? I know, the statistical jump between 75 to 90%, he is referring... Well, he's referring to the 80% statistic that actually gets used, but then he's just kind of wildly flubbing it around and saying, well, if it's 80%, then it might as well be 90%. 80% of all of the kids who were brought to a clinic to see if they might be trans based on some kind of question or inclination, 80% of those, when sent through the rigorous process of determining which ones are going to be persistent, they determined that 80% of those weren't going to be persistent. They just had a little bit of a gender question, and it's fine. Like, they're cis, they resolved. And then the 20% that are proven through that system of, like, checking in with them every few years, like, talking to the parents, having an ongoing relationship, those ones who are insistent and persistent, they are trans, and they then go on to be on puberty blockers, and almost 100% of people who go on puberty blockers go on to take cross-sex hormones because they have been proven through the gatekeeping system to need that care, and it is, like, also the fact that they are needing the care, like they were correctly diagnosed, basically, is how you would put that in, like, normal people language. Like, they were successfully diagnosed as trans and they persisted, right? But they are always implying here that these kids start identifying as trans and then they start socially transitioning, and some of them even start medical transition, and then they decide that this is not for them and that they're not really trans. Overwhelmingly, that's not what is happening. But yeah, so that's where that 80% comes from, is like 80% of all the kids who had questions at this one particular clinic during this one particular frame of time, 80% of those were determined to not be in need of further health care regarding gender identity, basically. But then, yeah, they use it dishonestly, and at this point, they're not even sticking to the number of 80%. Like, 80 to 90% of these, they snap back and they go back to where they were at the beginning, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, people being nice to trans kids is a gateway drug to them becoming trans adults. True. We can't have that. Absolutely can't have that. That's even dumber than just making up a number. I know, it's called misrepresenting the data. It's like, no matter what you do, there's always going to be a bias to the data. It's just how, like, honest your bias is, I guess. I have a bias toward trans kids being healthy and living longer lives and having better mental health outcomes, right? And I admit that I have that bias. I am going to look at data in a specific way because, ultimately what I want is for kids to not be harmed. So I'm going to try to look at the data as honestly as possible. But I want trans kids to be affirmed while also making sure that no one is being harmed, right? But if you have a belief system that no one should transition, and especially kids shouldn't transition, then you're going to twist every bit of data. You maybe even not doing it on purpose, because I don't necessarily want to assign malicious intent to every single idiot who repeats the 80% thing, but I just think that they aren't intellectually honest enough to really look into it, and that they reflexively perceive the data to support their position, and that they are not interested in questioning whether or not it actually supports their position. And if you press them on that, they will just shift the goalposts to something else. Like, if you press them on whether their data is actually, like, relevant to the conversation in any way, or that it says what they say it does, they're just gonna dodge you. There's no winning with these people. They will just keep gish galloping at you. They're just gonna keep throwing shit at the wall until something trips you up. Oh, God. My mom believes that trans people will regret their transition later in life. I mean, you could ask her where all these detransitioners allegedly are. Like, ask her why they keep having to trot out the same 2 or 3 people all across the country, and they keep flying them around. Surely they would be able to find more individuals willing to speak out compared to the huge number of trans minors and young adults and activists across the country who show up in support of trans people. They show up in opposition of these bills restricting our rights. Like, ask her why there are so many different trans people saying this is going to hurt me and here's how, versus the 3 people we hear the same names of over and over again. Maybe the grifter budget is running out. Oh, it's not running out. The reason that they only have 3 detransitioners is not because the grifter budget is running out. A billionaire is funding it, and we read a very in-depth article about how a specific organization that I cannot remember the name of right this second is funding this. It's a billionaire. It's because they literally only have 2 or 3 individuals who are detrans and willing to be transphobic, you know? You were joking, but it was a good opportunity to bring up the billionaire thing, so don't worry about it, Ursa. I'm not, like, annoyed. Anyway, is there anything else worth listening to in this 20 seconds?
Of detransitioners, which we've seen in widespread formats, including out in California, where Kaiser Permanente is subject to multiple lawsuits for fast-tracking gender identitarian surgeries. The mind reels at what the implications are going to be.
Gender identitarian surgeries. I've never heard that one before. That's a new one for me. Gender identitarian surgeries. Amazing. This is just kind of for funsies at this point. I feel like I don't have a lot more that I can add to this particular committee. Like, it's laughable, and they're going to try to take away our rights, and I don't think that they have the votes required, and even if they have the votes required, I don't know whether Biden's going to sign it or not, or, like, I don't really know what the situation is going to be like by the time this thing gets pushed through. This entire hearing is a virtue signal. Right, because, like, you know, again, that's the one thing that I appreciate the honesty of Nikki Haley, I think is her name, is that she will at least honestly say, it doesn't matter whether I think abortion should be legal or not. There's no way that we're going to pass a major restriction with the Congress the way that it is. So, like, there's no point really in campaigning on that, because you're realistically not going to be able to push anything through. So this is just like a huge waste of time, essentially, and like a huge waste of taxpayer money because they know that this is not going to pass through. But anyway, Riley Gaines was there.
And the security to stand firm in my belief that men should not be playing in women's sports.
I know we had a witness that...
Oh my God, I can't make it louder. I'm so sorry. No.
From what I've read.
Stop. God, I hate you. I've never seen... like this menu be this big on this screen before. Like, that's gigantic. It's a huge menu. Why are you like this? Why would you do that to me?
Suggested that because you worked so hard all your life to be the best. I mean, you were the best in female swimming. There's no question about that. And to have to lose or share a title with a biological male, you know, we had a witness on the panel suggest you should have just lost gracefully. I mean, I think that is a slap in the face to any athlete who works so hard. I mean, I was a...
Okay, I can't let him continue, but he's so quiet. Riley Gaines tied with Leah for 5th place in, like, the one race that they raced together. Tied. So Riley Gaines is not one of the best swimmers in the country. She's never won a title, so she didn't have a title to share. Like, I just need to get that out there, because Like, oh my God, we're going to praise her. We're going to call her one of the best athletes in the country. Like, girl, she is mediocre. She tied for 5th place with a biological male. Like, I mean, if you want to like talk about being shitty at what you do, like if these people really think that, you know, biological males have this inherent advantage, like if we're going to entertain that for a moment, then it is embarrassing that she tied with that person. And it's embarrassing for both of them that they got 5th place. It's pretty bad for both of them that they got 5th place. Okay, we're just going to be honest here. Good gracious.
Below mediocre basketball player on my high school basketball team, I can't imagine the work that you put in, that any great athlete, male or female, puts in. And I don't think you should lose gracefully. I think you should do exactly what you've been doing.
She's just a bad sport. Like, honestly, all these transphobic women who, like, grift on being losers, like, they're losers and they're bad sports about it. You can't even, like, even the ones who win. We covered that one recently who actually won her match and she still displayed bad sportsmanship by being just super transphobic afterward. The big lie.
You're a class act, and you've been a leader. You've
told
so
your
classy.
Story.
Many of us on this side of the aisle have heard your story many times, and we respect what you're doing, and we stand with you. I just want you to know that.
Well, I appreciate that a whole lot.
Yeah, so they're like, we're gonna definitely try to restrict trans women's access to sports because we support you so much. GOP against losing gracefully? Color me surprised. I know, Divinity. I know. That's my bad. Shut up, mama. I don't think there's a video for this part, but at one point this hearing became quite contentious because Representative Summer Lee, in her opening statement, expressed some apprehension that the testimony might turn transphobic. Subsequently, Riley Gaines labeled her a misogynist during Riley Gaines' testimony. Excuse me. Representative Lee sought to have the comment stricken from the record, citing Gaines, quote, engaging in personalities, which is a term for personal attacks, which does violate the committee's rules. In response, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene retorted, men disguising themselves as women are engaging in personalities. So Greene faced no disciplinary action, and Representative Lee's motion was not upheld. So, like, just, it's not just whether or not you agree in someone being a misogynist. It's like, you're not supposed to engage in a personal attack in this forum, and they allowed it because they hate women. Like, they hate women and they hate trans people, so there's just absolutely no reason for them not to allow, like, it's like, you know, they censored Zoe Zephyr because she said, like, you know, you have blood on your hands because you're restricting youth access, and, like, so she broke decorum, but engaging in personalities, which is explicitly against the committee's rules, they're going to allow it when they don't like the people that are being insulted. You know, when the people are being insulted and they're like, I agree that that person is a piece of shit, they're just gonna, like, go with that. It's such a functional government we have. It's amazing. God. Let me see, make sure there's nothing else. So basically, at the conclusion of the hearing, Representative Lisa McClain, who is the chair of the committee, she announced her intentions to introduce a national Save Women's Sports Act. The legislation is going to aim to prohibit trans students from participating in sports that align with their gender identity throughout the United States. Yeah, and, like, obviously she probably doesn't have the votes to pass it, like I said earlier, but, you know, they want you to know that this is their plan going forward, is they're going to make it their national platform to restrict trans rights. So any conservative judges that get appointed during the next 4 years, they're just going to be, most likely, they're going to toe the party line on the transphobia issue. I guess it just depends. The elections have, by and large, not been going their way. When they use the trans issue as the wedge issue, we've said it multiple times. They did not do well in the United States most recent elections, but right, if you want women's sports to be better, maybe fund them, but no, they won't have that conversation. It's just like the pro-life issue. They will claim to be pro-life, but then once the baby is born, they don't want you to have welfare, they don't want you to have food stamps, they don't want to help you at all. They don't want to subsidize childcare so that you can hold down a job. They don't actually care. It's just like, you know, they care about women's sports, quote unquote, to the extent that it allows them to be transphobic. But once the trans issue gets wrapped up and like, oh, trans people aren't allowed in the sports, whatever, cool, done and dusted. We've done the transphobia successfully. They are still, like, the women's sports are still going to be underfunded. There's still going to be like a cultural idea that women's sports sucks, so it's not going to be watched as much, you know? The PR of women's sports itself is a thing that could use some work, and it would help if you let women compete against men. Like maybe women's sports as a whole concept is a failure because, again, it's predicated on the false idea that women are inherently inferior to some people, and to other people, it's like a means of preserving male supremacy because they know secretly that they're threatened by the fact that women can compete. So yeah, amazing. Like, but yeah, try convincing cis women that they're actually not pathetic and they can actually compete against men. And like, I don't know why this is the most difficult part of the conversation apparently, but what we need is for women to demand that sports be desegregated. Yeah, sports doesn't need to be gendered. Do weight and height classes if that's going to be the thing that bothers you so much. But sports is inherently unfair. Like, Michael Phelps is a freak with extra long arms. Like, it's inherently an unfair system. It's about finding out what are the limits of human achievement. Like, what are the limits of the possibilities? And if everybody's on the same even playing field, if you're regulating the hormones of mildly intersex people, like people who just have a little bit of a hormone difference, if you're like monitoring them and making them be physically the same, and you're like forcing there to be no differences in the sports, like, oh, you're too tall, you can't play this sport at all, instead of being like, oh man, he's the tallest guy who's ever played basketball, that's fucking cool. And like, did he do much better than everybody else? Like, ooh, let's see how well he can do in his career when we sign him on our team, right? Like, that's the whole fucking thing, is like, it's a bunch of different freaks of nature competing to see how intense we can go with it. Yeah. We watched a video recently of that woman out deadlifting a guy. And, like, you know, he was clearly a dude who is in the gym sometimes. He was fairly muscular. He was leaner than she was, though. Sex testing pretty much drove Caster Semenya out of sports entirely. Exactly. Caster Semenya and several other black women have been basically... They're allowed to participate in certain... This is the weird thing, is that they are allowed to participate in certain sports, but not others. Like, it's super weird. And, like, yeah, they have to consent to hormone medicine to like change their hormone levels, or they won't be allowed to play. So like Caster Semenya might have a hormone disorder or like a chromosomal difference, but she was born a cis woman. She just has higher than average testosterone, and that's like a normal human deviation. But because, yeah, we decided that sports needs to be binary, like, speaking of medical shit, all in the name of maintaining the two-gender system. Yep, it's all fabricated. If it was natural, you would not need to try so hard to maintain the, quote, natural order. You wouldn't need to try so hard. Anyway, work out, babes. Run so that you can be competitive. I need to actually start doing cardio and running. It's a bummer. But I was doing lunges recently, and it was just... I was like, wow, this is really intensely difficult cardio, actually. I don't know much about the specifics because I am cis. How big is the actual hormone difference between males and females on average? I mean, like, it depends on the time of month and the time of day. Even for cis men, you guys have hormonal cycles, like, throughout the day and throughout the month. So it depends. Like, obviously, on average, males have higher testosterone. Like, how big is the hormone difference between castor semenya? Oh, between trans girls and cis girls, for example. Well, generally, if a trans woman is medicated, she has less testosterone than cis girls, even cis girls who have pretty low testosterone. In fact, trans girls are required to have, like, such a low amount of testosterone that most cis women would probably not be able to clear that bar. I used to be a runner. It's rough on the knees. Yeah. So maybe I just, instead of running, because I don't actually like the treadmill. Dude, my hip clicks when I'm walking on the treadmill. And it doesn't click when I'm walking most of the time. So I'm going to do the stair stepper machine instead, probably. Or, like, I tried the stationary bike things this week, but I don't know. That was not really that fun. But I also don't know if I want to start my warm-up with the stair steps thing. Yeah. Bikes are great for legs. I just need cardio. I just want some cardio to do that's not the treadmill. Anyway, I'm done talking about serious stuff for today. Like, I'm done with that for now. Shall we play some Cats Are Liquid, or we can chat for whatever else right now? Bikes are really good for cardio. What's it called when you start walking and your hip hurts to put pressure on it? I don't know. I would call it a joint problem. Hormones are a real advantage, but if the levels aren't outrageously higher like that, I say let them compete. Like, again, even with the differences between males and females, like, just strictly cis males and cis females, like, women do better at endurance sports and men do better at strength sports by a little bit of a margin. Like, it's not a super statistically significant margin, but yeah, even with that, most trans girls, have pretty low testosterone. Arthritis, maybe. You might need to stretch your hips. Look up some various hip stretches. You can do child's pose or extended child's pose. That's good for hip stretching. The butterfly, if you sit down and do the butterfly stretch, that can be good for your hips as well. Later, Knox. Yeah, I start a little bit earlier on Wednesday. We catch a little bit more of that UK time. This is UK people. The butterfly, yeah. You ever do the butterfly stretch? You sit on the floor, and it's like you're about to sit cross-legged, but instead of crossing your legs, you put your feet together like this, and then you kind of, like, tuck in your heel toward your crotch a little bit, and you kind of, like, you're gonna start out like this as you are not very good at stretching, and then gradually you'll be able to put your knees closer to the floor, and that's, like, it'll stretch your hips, like, in the hips, you know what I mean? True, Violet, that's a good thing to point out. Maybe I should have been advertising it throughout the stream, but I'm gonna be on the Transatlantic Call-In Show tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time. And Arden is going to be the one who's hosting. So I'll be on with Arden again. She's great. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have fun on the Transatlantic Call-In Show. It's always a good time. And there's always like 300 people there. So, my channel is really doing better than it has in, like, the entire time I've been a full-time streamer. Like, it's doing really well right now because I've been uploading really consistently. And going on Transatlantic Call-In Show right now, I think, is a really good thing. It's a really good amount of exposure. People will see that I've been uploading regularly, and maybe they'll find something they like. Ooh. Let's surf some turfs. No. No surfing. No surfing for the turfing. Where am I going? Oh yeah, I was gonna open up Steam. That's what I need. We're gonna play another round of Cats Are Liquid. I feel like I wish I had a controller for this. I do have a controller, but it sucks ass. I don't like it that much. Waiting for Steam to open. Waiting for Steam to go. Drink some more water. Hail hydrate. I gotta finish the H-Bomber Guy video after stream today. Steam is taking a long time to open. My computer... I need to replace my hard drives. I have the new hard drive. I just need to actually get in there and, like, mount the new hard drive. And that will maybe help with how slow my computer is. Cats Are Liquid. Okay, we are launching the game now. We did reach 75 likes today. Isn't that amazing? I thought you said hard drive. No, incorrect. No hard drive. Is my fucking hat off kilter again? It moves around, like, surprisingly a lot. Maybe it's because I'm just, like, itchy and I'm moving it more than I realize. Okay. Be good. Oh, that's bright. Okay. Oh, is that really loud? I'm sorry. Okay. Oh my god, why? There we go. I don't know why that was so difficult. I want to turn the main volume down as well. Hell yeah. Time for some chill gaming time. Divinity says, this is my first time hearing of Lux. YouTube just randomly suggested this stream. Video games aren't really my thing, so I'll be heading out now, but I'm glad I took the time to drop by. Yes, thank you. We just need to chill for a little while and increase the runtime of the show. So feel free to come by again on Sunday. We stream Sundays and Wednesdays. See you next time. A heart drive is like a blood drive. People come by and donate their hearts. True. Okay. Okay, we were in World 1 already. Let's do World 2. Flying is also a thing. Okay, where am I going? Okay, yes. I forgot which controls... Oh, man. I forgot which controls I was supposed to use. I got my new COVID shot yesterday and my shoulder still feels sore. I got my COVID shot on 2 days ago and my shoulder is still sore. But it was pretty gnarly. I don't know what she did, but it, like, bled when she did it and, hurt like a biatch. How do I run? Oh yeah, I run by doing this. I forgot. Forgot the instructions. Do I need to get on here? Yes, I need this. Whoops. I think I need to, like, ride this down. Okay, no, I didn't really need to do that. Cat is liquid. Checkpoint. This was interesting. She didn't remember seeing a ring like this before. Ooh, is this a power-up? Give me the power-up! Oh, the music changed. That's quite nice. Indie music has a tendency to sometimes be, like, copyrighted stuff, so let's hope that the stream doesn't die. Okay. Oh my god, what am I doing? Okay, that was weird. What happened? Hold Z. I'm a gas now! That's how it works. What? How? Well, it's clear that I'm water. That's our water. More importantly. The cat is now panicking. Okay. This is interesting. Whee! What did that thing do to the kitty? Okay. Nope, I took damage. I didn't mean to. Unintentional damage. Why did this happen to her, more importantly? Okay, indie puzzle game. I don't actually know if this is faster than just climbing walls, but we'll pretend like it is. Yay. It seems like jumping is faster. Kitty didn't do anything to this ball of gas that turned her into a ball of gas. Okay, jump. No. Rip. Okay, the cat has now calmed down. Okay, she thinks she understands this new ability that she has. New ways to solve problems. I can still jump on these guys, but I could also do this. I can jump, and I float faster. That's cool. Oops. Okay. Okay, this isn't that bad. Yeah, well, it's not that bad. Whee! I like how the little gas... it's like a little hydraulic gas sound. This has already proved to be quite useful, yeah. Success. That was a very long, empty space. We float. This level felt a lot more open than the previous ones. Okay, so this level is more open. And this is gonna dispense more bad guys. So much steam. Whoa, those are clouds. Oh no. Please go away. Why are you sticking to me? Ooh, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I'm just kind of sticking to this side. I played this, but it was in 2016 or 2015, so I don't really remember. Okay, delicious. It's quite soothing music. The cat saw the bubbling orange liquid and immediately knew she shouldn't touch that. Okay. That seems like it makes sense. Oh shit, I got hurted. Yes, well, it's orange, you see, which means that's why you shouldn't touch it. Yes, all the orange is hurty. Oh. Whoops. We still don't know why the orange is hurty. No. I mean, I don't know if this cat knows anything. She kind of has this expression on her face, like she just doesn't know anything and she never will. Which I obviously have massive respect for. Actually kind of worried that I may have skipped some levels by accident. Not a huge deal, but... Whoops, I almost died. Okay, good. She wanted to get out. Yes, I would like to get out. Yes. Kitty. I like that she has a tiny little tail. Pretty adorbs. Float, float. I like how so much of these puzzles just involves, like, running straight through something. That's pretty great. Of course, this room is tilted. The music in this game reminds me very much of the Rick and Morty episode where, Jerry is trapped in a simulation. It's like, this is human music. And it's like, beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. And he's like, yeah, this is pretty good. That's what the music in this game is like. She mostly just ignored it. Yes, we're just ignoring the problems. Okay, little platform moment. My kitties keep looking for the cat meowing in the game, sorry. Okay, as long as she would just get out of here. Oops, that was smart. Listen, I'm the smartest. She was getting tired of these rooms. I mean, I understand. Sir? Sir. That was a pretty smooth exit. She just wants to get out. I've never finished this game, so I don't really know what happens beyond, like, World 6. Checkpoint. Yes. Beautiful. Bellissimo. Whoops, there's a guy. Whoops, I have to take that damage right on the chin. There's a lake of orange. A huge lake of liquid orange. Nope, don't. She's scared. The kitty is scared. Which is why she's in a box. She feels safe in the box. Oh yeah, I can float up. Yes. I fell into a burning lake of fire. Yes, another lake. Whoops. She didn't feel as scared this time. Why not? Because you've seen it before, presumably? Good lord. This method of travel is not very fast. I want the checkpoint. Give checkpoint. Thank you. No, get away from me. Success. Whoops. It's requiring ever so slightly more, like, actual skill now. More of these jumping things. She went under them and continued. She really wanted to get out now. Uh-oh. Your burning desire, I'm sorry, does not make any effect on the situation. You have to just keep trudging along. Yeah, I regret to inform you that the next door is not the exit. kitty. Beep, beep, beep. Oops. Good place for that checkpoint. Multiple lakes of fire. Door. Found it. Yes. Ooh, yes, I think I did skip some accidentally. Because, like, maybe the last level is the dark one, and I quit I quit during the dark level last time. Yeah, maybe I should go back and play those levels, because I can't remember which ones they are. I wasn't counting. Probably should have been counting. Whoa, no, I hit the wrong button. God dang it. Just try to focus on something else. Okay. I feel like I'm doing okay. Okay, yes, so there was one level at the end of the last world that I didn't play. But I'm not too worried about it. I was like, oh, this looks like the next world. Oh, no. But no, it was only the final level. So, yeah, let's do one more world. The colors changed again. And then I'm gonna have to figure out what to feed myself today, because I have decided that on stream days I should not force myself to cook food afterwards. Huge orange square fall from the roof and almost hit her. Oh no. Giant orange blocks now. This is a whole new challenge. Bye! Not fun. 0 out of 10. Wouldn't recommend. That phrase has been around for a while now. It's pretty funny, actually. Oh, shit. That was an accident. Again, I keep hitting the wrong buttons, because honestly, the controls in this game don't really make a lot of sense. But we're doing our best with what we have. Okay, here we go. Down. Beautiful. This is definitely a cozy time. Apparently, cozy gaming is really in, according to the YouTube backend and the lies that it likes to tell me. Oh, shit. I don't actually know if it's lying, but, like, apparently, if you're gonna do gaming content in this day and age, it might as well be cozy content. So, I'm going to inevitably... I haven't started doing it yet, because I feel like I need to wait until I catch up on my other editing before I start editing shit for the gaming channel. But, ooh, okay, that's a bouncy. I don't remember that at all. But, yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I should probably brand this like it's cozy. The weirdly shaped thing bounced her around the room. As long as it didn't hurt her, though, she was cool with it. Bouncy. Bouncy. Interesting. Fascinating. I could see that being really annoying if I was a less talented gamer. Get out of here. World's most talented gamer. Whoa. Oh, shit. Here we go. I'm the world's best platformer ever. Proceeds to immediately make a bunch of bad choices. No, I can't remember which button is which, apparently. Listen, the button to float is fucking Z. So, listen, in my defense, that doesn't make any sense. No. Okay. I need to be prepared to float now. Okay, good. Yes, floating is what I need to do. Or jumping. Jumping is also acceptable, but floating is mainly what I would like to do. Maybe this was the exit. Okay, well, your wishful thinking... I mean, I guess your optimism... Well, let's not call it wishful thinking, okay? It's possible to reframe things in a way that makes you feel worse, right? So if we call it wishful thinking, then that's gonna make us, you know, feel badly about the situation. But if we call it optimism, then it's an admirable quality. See? Isn't the world so much better? Whoop. Nope. Made it. Weird shaped things? Yeah, more of these. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, I didn't mean to do it twice. It's because I expect spacebar to do something while I'm in the air. That's my main problem. I'm trying to make it to the next checkpoint now. Be smarter. Where is the next checkpoint, my dude? Oh my god, why is there a giant... Why is this one giant? Giant triangles of doom. Okay, now I'm at a next level. Okay, great. Okay, these ones are falling sideways. She was sure gravity didn't work that way. Oh, nope, shoot. Just launched myself straight into one of them. God dang it. Okay. Try this way. Nope, I clipped the corner. Dang it. Okay. So, I should be able to do one of these. There we go. No, I clipped the corner again. No, I'm doing a lot of repetitive shit. No, this is why I stopped playing Little Nightmares 2, is because it was too repetitive. Okay, I can do it. I did it. I just want to finish this little level. Ooh. Okay, at least it shouldn't. True. Floating. Nope. Oh, shoot. Ding dang dong. Oh, okay, we're gonna make me start all the way over. Again, you should have put a checkpoint in there somewhere. Come on, man, that's crazy. That's a crazy lack of checkpoint. Okay, let's be more skillful this time. My boom arm mic thing is directly in the way of my screen. Okay, well at least I took damage and didn't die. Oh my goodness, that was very close. I was very close to being dead right there. Now there's a checkpoint. Okay. God bless America! Puzzle games like this do require a certain amount of focus and skill, which does not necessarily lend itself to conversation. Also, I've already talked about a lot of stuff that was just kind of on my mind today, so I don't have a lot left. It's not like a particularly complicated game. Okay. Oh, I'm glad that I didn't die just then. Very easily could have just died. Controls in this part are weird. Okay. That was really tough. Okay, I made it. Yes! Oh my goodness. Oh man, I'm trying to die. Okay, I made it. Yet another new thing. Okay, this is gonna make me zoom forward. Clearly. I can tell what that's gonna do. It's gonna give me the zoomies. Meow. Zoomies. Oh my goodness. This guy was like, I can't really think of what to do as far as game design goes, so... These pushing things kept her away from the orange liquid. Okay, cool, good to know. So we're not doing giant orange this time. There's one, okay. That giant orange one will hurt me. They were making it difficult for her to get to the door. Yes, true. Oh no, okay, cool. They did seem okay at first. She quickly saw how there were platforms to stand on. Oh, shoot. Oh, interesting. Fascinating. Please. Getting ready to go out for karaoke. Very excited. Be safe! I was gonna do karaoke with my friend, but then oh gosh, we just ended up not, I just ended up not, wanting to hang out with that person in person, mainly. So here's something that I hadn't really thought about before, you guys. I was talking about it with my therapist today, because I'm really bad at maintaining friendships, right? Like, I'm particularly bad at it. Oh shoot, and part of the reason for that is because I feel like I don't feel like I really choose the people that I want to hang out with very often. Like, people want to be my friend, and they're persistent enough to get me to respond, and I'm like, oh, cool, so I end up being, like, in relationships with those kinds of people. But what, I was like, my therapist was like, we were talking about, like, what is it that I need to get out of a relationship, and what is it that these people are seeing in me? And I realized that I am susceptible to emotional vampirism. Like, people who can tell that I am, like, gonna listen to their problems, and be emotionally supportive, and, all those things, like, and I think that I just need to be a little bit more selective with who I give that energy to, probably. And, like, probably people are not even doing it on purpose. Like, they're not even taking advantage on purpose. But they are, and, like, that makes it hard to want to have relationships if you realize that, like, most relationships are draining. Like, if most of your friendships have been this kind of, like, you end up giving a lot more than you realize, then it makes it just, you don't want to be around people. But, so I was just thinking about that, because I was thinking about that friend, and, like, why do I not want to hang out with that person? And, like, they messaged me recently, and then I realized, I was like, oh, you're messaging me because of, like, a personal tragedy. Like, you need emotional support, and you're reaching out to me even though we have barely talked in the last 2 years. So, yeah. Okay, hold on. Okay, this is a weird one. The levels are definitely longer now. Okay, got it. I feel that whole set of statements super highly, yeah. Nope. Oh, man. How many more are there? Because I am tired. So basically it was just, she just was suggesting that, like, maybe I need to, like, seek out my friends instead of be friends with people who are seeking me out. Because she also pointed out, like, you know, if you are pulled over on the side of the road and you need roadside assistance, you know, what is going to be the safer situation? If you call someone and they come help you, or if somebody pulls over on the side of the road and helps you, you know, like, you have to examine what are the potential motives of the person who pulls over to help you? You know, what is it about you needing help that made this person want to pull over? So, like, what is it about someone coming to you? Like, what are they perceiving about you? This is one of the things that can also help you not end up just, I think, generally in relationships where people are taking advantage. Is if, you know, and it's, oh, you know, it's, like, obviously not a very trusting kind of mindset to have. But I think sometimes we can be a little bit too trusting, and a little bit too loosey-goosey with our boundaries. And that it would behoove us to just, you know, pay attention to, like, how one-sided your relationships are. Like, if your relationships are one-sided, do you feel like you are getting the emotional support that you need versus, like, how often are your friends coming to you in crisis? And, like, it's good to have emotionally supportive relationships. Again, you know, you want to be there for your friends, and you want your friends to be there for you. But it's like, just make sure that you're not being there for your friends all the time and not getting any kind of return. Okay, this is interesting. Oh, shit. Should have seen that coming. God dang it. I'm gonna wait for this one to cycle back around. Cool, made it. Gorgeous music, just gorgeous. What's your deal? Okay. Oh, there's explosions now. See, anybody who didn't stick around for the gaming part missed all my wisdom about not letting people be emotional vampires on you. She observed the small orange circle on the other side of the wall blink and then explode. She definitely wanted to stay away from those things. Oh, okay. Success. I made it. I think this game was free. Like, I don't remember paying for this game. So I just want to say, like, shout out to the devs. Nope, that's gonna hit me. Okay. Maybe it didn't hit me. Do those not do damage unless they explode? Like, they don't do damage on contact? No. She stepped on the light green platform and it bounced her. Bouncy, bouncy. Bouncy. That was fun. Unnecessary, but fun. I like how this is a game that's timed in such a way that you could hypothetically just kind of like... You can do those things where you just sort of run through a section. I don't need to be bounced right now, thank you. Well, that's not true, but different kind of bounced. Okay, interesting. Why are you the way that you are? Fascinating. Okay. Nope. Oh, I thought that I wanted to bounce on it. Am I going the right direction? Did I just start going the wrong way? No, I'm going the right way. No. Oh my god, that's pretty fucking annoying. Okay. Good grief, dude. Spectacular. Okay, there's an explosion happening over here. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay. I feel we're nearing the end. Perhaps. Yes, I did it. Kind of unnecessary. I did it. Okay, now there's one more. Okay, good. You can't let it get to you. I really do like the way that it looks in this. He's all glowy and, like, cute. It's adorable. Explosions. Okay. Bounce. Nope. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Hold on. We know that it'll be difficult, but you have to try. Oh, is the cat dead? It's the only way out. Is the cat dead? And this is like her purgatorio? That pun works in like every language, right? Purgatorio. Maybe she was getting close to the exit? Maybe. Oh, wait, was that the end? Did I get to the end? Oh, the colors changed yet again. Okay, yeah, I walked through a door and the colors changed again. I just didn't even notice that was the end of the world. Okay, cool. I think this is world 4 now? Yeah, because we did worlds 2 and 3. So this is world 4. We'll start with world 4 next time. Okay, goodness gracious. Okay, that game can exit now. Yes. Okay. Oh, my ears. Having the earbuds in doesn't always feel great on your ears. Oh my gosh. 21 viewers. The 21 real ones. You're the realist. Gamer score up. Gamers rise. I am the gamer. I'm the most gamer. No one has ever gamed as hard as I game. Oh boy. Well, that was a pretty long and productive stream. We did so many good things. And I'm sure we'll do many more good things as we continue on in our adventures. You know, the legislative... I was talking to my therapist today, and we were talking about the fact that, you know, we're scheduling appointments into 2024 now, and she was like, oh, God, it's an election year. And I was like, hey, I guess that's good for me. Like, I'm going to make money off of it. And she laughed. Like, she thought that was pretty funny. It's not exactly what I said, but yeah, I was like, hey, that's good news for me. She was like, Lamau. I've enjoyed the games each time. Well, good. Yeah, COVID games, I was going to say cozy gaming, and then I read the word COVID from Ursa in the chat. Cozy gaming during COVID times. Be safe, everybody. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. I am ready to go find some food and go chill for a little while. Maybe watch the last bit of H-Bomber Guy's video. And I plan to see you all on Sunday at our usual time, which is noon central. Okay? So until then, you know, be good to the extent that you're capable of doing so. I don't expect you to look into all the logistics of human trafficking that got your food on the table or whatever. But yeah, have